6-2 at TD Garden. Artemi Panarin, 4 points for the Rangers in that game. The Bees back at it tomorrow against the Red Wings. The Patriots return to practice today as they get ready for their Monday Night Football matchup against the Giants. Harold Landry, Morgan Moses, and Jelani Tavai were back at practice while Jared Wilson and Brendan Schooler remain out. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, the Giants confirmed that Jackson Dart will start at quarterback on Monday night. He'd been out with a concussion. Elsewhere in the NFL and Thanksgiving action yesterday, the Packers beat the Lions, the Cowboys beat the Chiefs, and the Bengals beat the Ravens. One game in action as we speak, and that is the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. They trail 10-3 to the Chicago Bears late in the first half. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Super Service Today. Winter's coming. Don't get caught in the cold. Super Service Today gives your home a full heating system health and safety check. The most thorough in New England, guaranteed. Book now at superservicetoday.com. I'm Alex Barth on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 4:30.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today. The Bruins, the Celtics, the Patriots, the Sox, the Revs, and you. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Fox, Trocheck, high slot, shot, score. Gavrikov was floating in front that time.
Yeah, they're pointing at Trocheck, though.
It's 6-2.
Oh, George Sepulveda. This brings me back to Madden, probably, 2003?
That's my wheelhouse.
Classic. Seether, fine again. What else was this game? SSX 3, I think.
Sounds right.
Old school. Hit me with old school video game music today. Why not?
I'm in for that.
Old soundtracks.
I am
Madden
in for
soundtracks. That. Do you like the John Madden stuff they did yesterday? I mean, how could you not, right?
Oh, it was awesome. It's always awesome. The Thanksgiving broadcast, the NFL does that so well, and it's, this is interested in your thought on this, and I think we've talked about this. The NFL has Thanksgiving, and that's their day, and I think they've mastered it, and they were the first to do it. But then you saw the NBA take over Christmas. The NHL kind of has New Year's Day or wherever they end up doing the Winter Classic. That's fallen off a little bit, but that was kind of their day. Why doesn't baseball have a day?
Yeah, baseball needs to own the 4th of July
baseball,
a little bit more.
The 4th of July every year should be, you could go noon start to a 10 p.m. start. You go across the country. It should be Red Sox, Yankees, something, Orioles, Nationals, something down there. You play Cardinals, Cubs. You end it with Giants, Dodgers, and you just go that. And people say, well, it's the 4th of July. It's different. People aren't inside. They're not at home. Not like Thanksgiving. We were sitting on the couch. One, well, if they're not watching anyway, maybe get a couple more people.
Yeah.
Because there's no incentive for them to stay in anyway. And two, it's going to rain some years. And those years, you'd probably do monster numbers.
Yeah, Thanksgiving is the perfect sports holiday.
It's not going to be like Thanksgiving for the NFL, but they should do something.
Well, there's just something about football and Thanksgiving because it's a sedentary holiday, right? You're generally in one spot. I mean, unless you're bouncing, of course, to multiple Thanksgivings. But this is what I found interesting, and we'll get the ratings, I'm sure. Have you seen any of the TV ratings from yesterday? Because the NFL tried something different yesterday, which they tried to put good games on Thanksgiving, which they never do because you don't have to. Because people are only so casually watching. I mean, you're watching the games, but you're in and out, right? I mean, I think watching football on Thanksgiving is a completely different type of viewing experience than your average Sunday or a playoff game, a playoff Saturday, a playoff Sunday. I'm locked in, right? From 1 to 4 or 5 or whatever it is. I mean, I carve out a few hours every Sunday where I'm locked in, and that's what I'm doing. Thanksgiving, though, is different. I mean, it's on in the background. You pop in, you watch a series or two, but then you pop out. You're doing different things, and I don't know if the NFL needs good games on Thanksgiving. It was nice, I guess, to have some games that you were kind of interested in, but I'm not going to lie, Barth. I mean, I didn't see much of the Chiefs-Cowboys game because that was just, I was going to one Thanksgiving, I was going to the next. And
good game, though.
Back. It was a great game.
Yeah.
I mean, everything I saw of it was a great game, but I kind of wish, I'm not going to lie, I kind of wish that we're on this Sunday, so I could enjoy it a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sink my teeth into it a little bit more, actually sit there and actively watch it, compared to yesterday where it's on in the background and, this just happened, oh, I kind of missed that, I sort of saw that. I don't know. It was a different experience. I'm not necessarily complaining about it, but I don't know. That's one good game that now I don't have on Sunday.
Yeah, I could see that. I can see where you're coming from. I just think you have the product, and you also have a lot of people who aren't typically watching football, and maybe they view it a little more as a sell job. That okay, let's not have the people that are forced to watch this because that's what the majority of people at the house want to watch, and it's a boring game. Let's see if we can actually get them hooked with an exciting game.
Yeah, maybe. Although
the one where they don't have an excuse is that third game. That third game should always be a good competitive game.
I think that third game is sneaky one of the worst spots for football.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong, but there's no excuse for that not to be a good game. That's handpicked. Like you're kind of at the mercy of whatever the Lions are that year or whatever the Cowboys are that year if you're the NFL, because you can't move that. That third game should be a big game every year.
You know how I know it's not a big game? I tuned in last night and I see it's Jason Garrett on the broadcast and not Collinsworth.
That's true. Well,
so
they took a little shot at Collinsworth.
Oh, did they? I missed that.
I mean, it was jokingly, but he said something because Yoshivas caught a touchdown for the Bengals. He was like, "Look at number 80 wide receiver for the Bengals working on Thanksgiving." So
Brady was there for Fox, at least. Brady, shout out to Brady.
Yeah, but I mean that's a real primetime window. 4:30. Everybody's kind of in one spot for that. I don't know. By the time, what time that game start last night? 8:15.
8:20, I think.
Typical 8:15, 8:20 start. By the time that happens, I mean, aren't you just spent from the day? And then I was like, oh wait,
right.
A minute,
So I want to just lie
game
on the couch and watch something.
Yeah,
and have a game.
I don't know. There's something about it, and maybe I'm just going back to that Patriots game when they played the Vikings on Thanksgiving. Like, I don't know, 8:20.
Oh, I'd much rather my team not play in that one.
Oh yeah, no, exactly, because you're not
let somebody else's team do it.
Actively watching it.
But the Patriots are good again, so Thanksgiving, Christmas, get ready.
Thank God for that. I will dread them being on Christmas next year. They're going to put them on Christmas.
Thanksgiving or Christmas, I got a feeling.
Yeah.
They don't play the Cowboys or the Lions, so it would have to be that third game if they play on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, third game or Christmas.
What day of the week is Christmas next year?
Oh, God, it's a Wednesday this year, right? Wednesday or Thursday?
So they'll maybe
I know they did massive numbers for Christmas last year.
Yeah.
I can't get into the idea of football on Christmas. Just let me sit around and actually... And maybe this is my perspective as somebody who works in sports. Can you just let me sit around and actually not consume sports for a day?
Too many potential eyeballs. Oh, it's on Friday next year.
It's a little better. Like a midweek football game, too. Like, what is this? The
year? Wednesday's too much. Tuesday and Wednesday should not be playing. Like, you want to sneak a Friday game in. They have the Black Friday game on today. 3 o'clock's a weird start time, though. Either started at 1 or started at like 7.
Yeah. So what time this game start today?
3.
I agree. Doesn't work. But you don't want a Friday. You don't want to be up against a Friday night. I mean, that's one of the many reasons
true.
the NFL doesn't play on Friday nights.
That's true. That's a good point.
You don't want to be up against it. People have stuff going on. Yeah. I can kind of get into this. Christmas, though, out on that. Your thoughts, 617-779-0985. We opened up with the Bruins, who followed the Rangers today, 6-2. How about Tim in Nashua? Hey, Tim.
Yeah, so I was a little shocked. I don't know if you guys caught the beginning of the game when they said Pastrnak and, Zaka, they weren't playing. Matt, you know how I've called and complained about Sweeney. Where does he go from here if your best player with a nagging injury? Does he get a couple of top 6 forwards, or do you attack it defensively? It seems like they're in like a little bit of a flux here of what to do. No, I mean, you've got the goalie, but what do you think is his next move?
Yeah, Tim, I think it's a really tough spot. And Alex, you and I were talking a little bit about this before the show.
Yeah.
What they're trying to do is they're trying to get a good coach with a good system, and you can play a heavy style of hockey and keep the puck out of the net, and you can kind of grind your way to a playoff spot, which is what they believe they could do. It did not look that way for the first 10 games of the year, But then the switch flipped. Lindholm came back, and all of a sudden they started playing a little bit more of that style of hockey. They've got, good players at the top of the lineup. Pastrnak, and obviously Geeky's been incredible. He's tied with Nathan McKinnon for the most goals in hockey, for Christ's sake. Who saw that coming? I certainly didn't. But when you really look at it, how sustainable is that model? I still do. Looking at the roster, Barth, they are so in the middle. They've got 4 or 5 really good players at the top of the roster, and after that, it's just kind of there. It is what it is. I don't think any of us are going to pretend that the Bruins are the 1980s Edmonton Oilers. Or anything like that. I don't think any of us feel that way. So how aggressive are you in improving this roster at the trading deadline? If you're still in the mix for the playoffs, do you want to spend future capital on this year's team? Because they're going to have to start drafting better. They're going to have to, really build, ultimately this team probably through the draft.
Yep.
How much do you want to commit to the idea of this brand of hockey with this roster getting you as far as you theoretically want to go?
Well, it just feels like, and you can get into the playoffs just kind of by being a pain in the ass in the regular season.
And that's kind of what they want to do.
And that's what they want to do. But they have that right. How much do you really add to that at the deadline? If you're talking about adding, you're talking about changing the formula. And now you're talking about making big moves. And are you going to change your entire DNA at the deadline?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I just don't think with the first-year head coach, you're really going to do that.
Yeah, I guess an easier way to say it, Barth, is do you believe in them? Do you believe in this roster? And my answer is still no.
But
it has to be no.
You're not talking about...
But I kind of believe in the group, and I believe in the coach. I think Sturm...
I think he's done a great job.
I think he's done a phenomenal job. We had no idea what to make of the Marco Sturm hire. And really, it's been as good as you possibly could have expected with this roster and the way they started the season. The fact that they've been able to put it together, and yes, they no-showed today, don't get me wrong, but they've no-showed a ton. I don't put that on the coach. I put that on the fact that the roster stinks, because it really, outside of the top 4 or 5 players, let's be honest, outside of the best, this is not a very good roster. Sturm has gotten more out of these guys than I think any of us possibly could have expected. He's done a great job. So do you want to add to that? It almost seems counterintuitive to say don't add to that. Doesn't Sturm deserve that? Don't these guys deserve that? They're a tight-knit group. They're playing reasonably well. Not today, obviously, but overall they've played, better than I think a lot of us expected. Do you want to mess that up? I don't know. They're still so in the middle, and it's a tough spot to be.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you asked me, do you want to add to that? If they want to trade like a 6th-round pick for another, third-line forward just to bolster the depth and make sure they get across the finish line and get in the playoffs, I guess. If you want to add to it to the point where, like, you're making a major change, well, now you're changing your whole DNA. That's a lot bigger than just adding at the deadline. Like you said, they're kind of in the middle. And I think if this is your course, you kind of just have to stick to this course and let it play out.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would not be investing significantly in this team. And
that doesn't mean they need to sell either.
No, certainly not. But I think in some ways today's a reason why you don't want to invest in this team. You have a couple of injuries, a couple of guys down, and you get your asses kicked. There is no depth on this roster. We can agree with that.
Right.
Once you get beyond, Pastrnak, McAvoy, Lindholm, Geeky, Swayman. Zaka's a good player.
Throw Zaka in there.
You throw Zaka in there, but that's 6 guys on a roster of
they're top
20.
Heavy.
Yeah,
they're very top heavy.
They are as top heavy as you get. 617-779-0985. Paul in Rhode Island. Hi, Paul.
Hey guys, thank you for taking my call. Mac Attack.
Yeah,
you're the best. You're the best.
You're the best too, Paul.
Alex. You're the best.
Thank
you're the best. Listen, let me tell you something. You guys are on-numbered, on topic all the time.
Strong.
But the reason I called was because the 1-point games this year and the division games this year in the NFL. I'm not worried about the Red Sox. I'm not worried about the Bruins.
Well, I am.
But the NFL has got a problem. This year, especially this year, why is there so many 1-point games and why there is a problem?
Because there's a lot of
division
parity.
games.
We're going to let you go on that, Paul.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. There's a lot of
thanks
parity.
to Paul, but
that's good.
I would not call it a problem that there's a lot of close football games.
Barth, I know you're Mr. College Football.
Yeah.
I'm gonna I'm going to let you in on something.
Okay.
Competitive close games are good. I know you're not used to that in college football.
You get a lot of competitive close games in college football. You're just not watching.
Well, you're right. I mean, you have to find. You can find the occasional ACC game that I'm sure is really competitive, but at the highest levels,
a great one earlier today before you got here between NIU and Kent State.
Jesus Christ! I like that you just said that almost seriously. Yeah. How about at the highest level of the sport? Is it competitive enough?
I mean, Georgia Tech, Georgia's looking pretty good right now.
ACC versus SEC, and we're one quarter in. But, the college football playoff. Competitive? Yes? No? National championship games, historically
no, they did not do a good job of seeding it last year.
Yeah. So, competition is good.
The average margin of the average scoring margin was closer in the college football playoff last year than it was in the NFL playoffs.
I thought last year was a down year for the NFL.
Was.
But competitive.
Well, I mean, the Eagles did a big chunk of that, I will say, to be fair.
Speaking of the Eagles, speaking of the Chiefs and what happened in that Super Bowl last year, can we get into what's going on with the Chiefs right now?
Yes.
Because we might actually avoid them. And this has been my biggest fear, and I think it should be the biggest fear of most Patriots fans out there, that Kansas City finds a way to sneak in. They come to Foxborough first round of the playoffs, whether that be the wild card round or the divisional round, and they knock you off just because they're the Chiefs. That is looking increasingly unlikely after yesterday. Let's get into the latest with all of that, what it means for the Patriots and what it means for the legacy of Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs if they have, in the middle of what should be their run, a year where they fall completely flat on their faces and miss the playoffs, which is an increasingly very difficult thing to do in the NFL. Let's get into all of that. Matt McCarthy, Alex Barth, 617-779-0985.
Boston's home. matter what game, it all happens here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Our ceiling is playing in the Super Bowl. We got all the same guys. We've added players, but at the end of the day, you got to go out and do it on every single week, a week in, week out basis. And we can beat anybody, but I mean, we've shown that we can lose to anybody. And so we got to be more consistent. It starts with me being consistent throughout the entire game, not in just big moments. And that's something that we have to do throughout an entire game and week to week. It's not just one time. And we obviously see that last week we have a big win, and then you come here and play another good football team, and you don't come to play. And so the ceiling can be what it is, but until you put it on the football field, you won't be able to go out there and win football games.
It's not easy being green, Kermit the Frog. Tough. 6-6. Very much, Kansas City Chiefs, very much in danger of missing the playoffs. Barth, I will never say that team is dead because I've seen it before with great quarterbacks and great teams, and that's what they've been for a long time.
Right.
Great quarterback, great coach, great team. I will never, ever, ever count them out, which is why I've been terrified about the idea of them coming to Foxborough. And I think any Patriots fan who has said this year that they actually want to see the Chiefs because they're not the same and they're beatable, you are nuts. You're nuts. And I still feel that way after they lose yesterday and drop to 6-6. But I will acknowledge this, and I think both things can be true. They're in deep crap. They are not the same. I think there's now a very good chance they miss the playoffs. I've come around on that. Like yesterday was the dividing line. I thought they were going to go in there, beat Dallas on Thanksgiving. It was going to propel them. Obviously, the Cowboys coming off a huge win over the Eagles. I thought it was going to be a statement win yesterday for the Chiefs. It was going to propel them to the playoffs. The exact opposite happened. They lose. They're 6-6. They need to win the vast majority of their games, maybe even win out to make it at this point, which I don't fully rule out that they can do because it's Mahomes, it's the Chiefs, it's Andy Reid.
Well, hang on.
Get it.
Mm-hmm. Texans, Chargers. Now, those are both at home. Mm-hmm. Texans, Chargers, at Titans, versus Broncos on Christmas, and then at Raiders to end the season.
Are they at home against Denver on Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's a good spot for them.
They have three tough games left, but they are all at home.
Yeah. I don't rule it out, man. But it's, I think we can all agree, it's far less likely than it was 24 hours ago, right?
It's very unlikely, but here's the thing. So they're at 10-6 right now. You've got three teams at 7-4. We'll see what happens on Sunday. 6-6. Thank you. Like you said, they basically have to win out, or they have maybe one loss left in order to get in. So if they do get in, they're not going to be the 500 team that sucks. You're going to get them on a heater. You're going to get them on a heater. So it is in the best interest at this point for that. Like, you want them missing if you're the Patriots. And we might get to a situation where Christmas, like that night, I almost said Christmas Eve, but like that night, Christmas night, all of New England sitting around the TV rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs against the Denver Broncos. That possibility is right there.
What does this mean for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and their legacy if they do miss the playoffs? If they have a year in the middle of what should be the middle of their run where they don't make the playoffs? Because the Patriots and Tom Brady never had that. And listen, I generally think that comparing the Patriots to the Chiefs, discussion that we've had every February for the last few years is premature. So that's where I stand on that to begin with. But that being said, some people want to have that discussion, so let's have the discussion now. Let's have the discussion in this moment. How much should I hold it against them if they miss the playoffs in what should be the middle of their run?
I mean, it's fair. And this is what we talked about when Chiefs fans wanted to do this thing about Brady and Mahomes and Belichick and Reid and the Patriots dynasty versus the Chiefs dynasty. And, well, look, we did what you guys did. You did a part of what the Patriots did. You did a part of it. You got it. Yes, you matched them for like 5 years. You matched them. It's about a 20-year run. Now, this is where, to be fair, this is where the Patriots and Chiefs runs, to whatever extent you want to compare them, and really Brady and Mahomes was always going to be a little different. Andy Reid was never going to coach Patrick Mahomes for 20 years. Right, and there is going to be a coaching change here at some point. So they might come back and say, well, I don't know what's going to happen with Andy Reid, but like if he's towards the end of it and this is him kind of being on the way out, hey, he was on the way out and need a new coach, blah, blah, whatever. But like Brady never missed the playoffs when he was fully healthy after his rookie contract.
Right, 2002 was the only time they missed.
Right, second year, really first full year as a starter, if you want to kind of play the game that way. Peyton Manning, I don't believe, ever missed the playoffs when fully healthy he missed in 2001. That was it. So he missed one
third year in the league. And
early,
that was
fourth year.
Really before he became Peyton.
Right.
I mean, I think of Peyton Manning, I start like 02, 03. Peyton Manning, when they made the playoffs in 2002.
I will say he was the MVP runner-up in 99.
Was he really?
That's what Pro Football Reference says, yep.
Huh. I do not remember that.
Oh, this now says he was tied for second with Marshall Faulk. Kurt Warner won it.
Yeah, I don't remember Manning being.
I'm looking at his numbers. He
good.
didn't have that amazing of a year.
I don't remember him being that good that early in his career. I mean, of course, you think of the Colts in 2003 and coming in here in 2004, setting the having the best offense statistically in NFL history at that point. So like that's where I think of the Peyton Manning stuff really beginning. His runner-up in 99.
But you know what? Damn. Like, it's still fourth year, early, young.
Early in his career.
These guys, you don't miss. If you're that good of a quarterback, you shouldn't miss, especially when it's not the defense. It's not like he's going out there and losing all these games 50-45. So, is it the be-all, end-all if it's just this 1 year and they get back to it? I mean, I don't think it's that. It's going to be mentioned. I don't think it's a headline. But if this kind of becomes a regular thing, we were talking about this before the show, and I've said this for a little bit, like the comp to me with Mahomes is more Aaron Rodgers than Tom Brady. That's the discussion. And Rodgers had some years there in the middle where the Packers were okay. Actually, no, wow, he made the playoffs every year he was healthy, so he missed in... He wasn't there in 08. He wasn't playing. Mm-hmm. He made the playoffs a lot more years than I realized.
Who, Rodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
17 and 18 were the only 2 years they missed. So even Rodgers made it every year.
If you are an elite all-time quarterback, you don't miss the playoffs. And I'm not saying that to say that Mahomes isn't an elite all-time quarterback because he is. We all know he is.
No, but when you want to talk about the S tier, the highest of high tiers, that truly rare group that he has 3 Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. So that's a part of that. But durability is always going to be part of the conversation. Not durability. Longevity is always going to be part of the conversation. It is so hard to maintain in the NFL. This year has been a great lesson on that. We were sold 2-3 years ago. Do you remember having this conversation that, the Bills have Josh Allen and they're a wagon. The Dolphins brought in Mike McDaniel, who's a boy genius, and Tua's playing MVP football. And look, they added Tyreek Hill. What a great move for a team to make for the long-term window. And the Jets added Aaron Rodgers. Patriots aren't going to be able to compete in the AFC East in 5 years.
Right. No, and here we are now.
We had heard that, the Bears were dead and buried, and the Rams were dead and buried because they traded all their picks. And, what were the Packers going to do without Rodgers? And on and on and on. There is no such thing as long-term guaranteed long-term sustainability in the NFL. It just doesn't happen. And so that is part of the reason Brady, to me, is held in as high regard as he is, among many other reasons. You're not supposed to be able to do that for 20 years. You're barely supposed to be able to do it for 5.
And I think
barely.
I think that's been why the conversation has been so premature. I mean, what the Chiefs, have done over the last 5, 6, 7 years.
They've matched 5 years, a 5-year slice of what the Patriots did.
Right. Let me know when you do it for the next 15.
Right.
And this is the first sign that they might not be able to do that. Because it's, the hardest thing to do probably in all of sports to win for 20 years straight in this sport. I go back to something that Henry McKenna reported on at Super Bowl time, after the Chiefs got blown out by the Eagles. Because, by the way, Patrick Mahomes' 2 losses have been blowouts in the Super Bowl, non-competitive. I mean, I do think we have to at least take that into consideration as well. McKenna reported this. Before the game, a Chiefs coach told me that media members had been asking him if going to Super Bowls ever gets old. And he bluntly told me it does. There was legit Super Bowl fatigue from this Chiefs team. It was completely clear in the first half when things escalated quickly. It's hard to keep it together for that long. It's hard to play that much football and keep coming back and doing it over and over and over and over again. And I would argue, Barth, that this is not the most talented Chiefs team of all time. We know that. All right, they're aging.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're having this type of season, but
that's
Brady
what makes it hard.
for Brady and company, the lean years were 10-6,
right?
Make the playoffs. 14-2, get knocked out in the first round. Those were the lean years.
They didn't have lean years in the regular season. They maybe had lean playoff years.
Yep.
They didn't really have lean years in the regular season. Like you said, 10-6 was really their worst year. After that second year, they did it twice. They did it in 2005 and they did it in 2009. And then he cruised from there. Also, I can hear Chiefs fans yelling, well, Brady went 8-9. That was his last year, and he still made the playoffs at 8-9.
44 years old.
Right, exactly. Yeah. 45.
Yeah.
The league is designed in some ways on purpose. In some ways, it's just the nature of the sport. This is not, it's not baseball where you have Jamie Moyer going out there at 45 and still getting by. Like, to play in your 40s, you have to be an elite player.
That's true.
To play in your 40s in the NFL.
Hill.
It's not Udonis Haslem coming off the bench for the Miami Heat 5 times a year. Football, your football career generally, for good players, ends at like 32, 33, 34. Quarterbacks maybe into the mid to late 30s. Maybe. And then there's the salary cap, the way the draft works, all this. It is not a league designed, despite what people think, and the refs doing this or that for the Patriots and this or that for the Chiefs. The NFL is designed for the good teams to become worse and the bad teams to become better. The reason bad teams stay bad is not because of the structure of the NFL. It's because they're run poorly. And the few teams that manage to stay good are run incredibly well and have a certain, and it's not just the front office and the coaches. They have players. They have core players that help that happen. It's not easy to do. And do you hold 1 year against Mahomes for his overall legacy? No, that's probably a little short-sighted big picture. But this is why the Patriots were different. The league is designed for the Chiefs to have a year like this. They held it off longer than most. Credit to them. But this is kind of, they are caught in the pattern of the NFL. 99.9% of teams have been caught in the pattern of the NFL over the last 25 years since the salary cap was put in. The Patriots somehow dodged the current. They dodged this strong current that is the NFL trying to push the good teams down for 20 years. It's not supposed to happen.
Because of Brady. And if we're going to compare Mahomes to Brady, he needs to match that. Brady, as you said, Barth, you fight the current of the NFL. The NFL, literally the league is designed for you to come back to the pack. And the Patriots pretty much never did. Their version of coming back to the pack, as we just said, is 2005 divisional round loss in Denver. It's 2009 wild card loss here in Foxborough.
Quarterback off a torn ACL
type of thing. It's 2010 where you go 14-2 and you lose in the first round because your coach has an ego and he benches the guy who made foot jokes about the other coach. That's why you fell back to the pack. That was their version of that. And the Chiefs have fallen back to the pack right now more than the Patriots did. And so if we're gonna make those comparisons, if that will and that's been shoved down our throats for the last 4 years, is it only fair for us to say in this moment, all right, well, now let's see how the Chiefs look in a down year compared to how the Patriots looked in their down years, because it looks a little different.
Anytime, and look, any good Patriots fans been in this battle, has found themselves in these trenches. Like, anytime you try to point out the validity of the importance of longevity, Chiefs fans will tell you, well, why do you got to jump the gun? Why do you just got to assume they can't do it? Blah, blah, blah.
Because it's basically impossible to do.
Also, so I'm going to jump. If it is an in the moment, if we are giving in the moment takes, and that's what it is, in the moment, Patrick Mahomes has failed. He has failed a regular season. Can I say that? Not making the playoffs for Patrick Mahomes is a failed season.
By the way, in this day and age in the NFL where there are now 7 teams who
that's true.
Take a look at the 7 seeds, by the way, who make the playoffs every year. It has generally been, the Pittsburgh Steelers special of, like, this team's not a playoff team. Get them off my television.
The 1 year Brady missed when he was healthy, I'll add, there was one fewer team. Now, they would have been the 8 seed that year because there was a 3-way tie, but I digress. If it's a gut check call, if we're supposed, Chiefs fans will tell you, how do you feel in the moment? What do you think of the moment? In the moment, Patrick Mahomes has failed a regular season. Tom Brady never did that. Not in his prime. Yes, year 2, fine. Failed a regular season when there were fewer playoff teams. He was much younger. Patrick Mahomes has failed a regular season in his prime. Tom Brady never did that.
617-779-0985. Let's get an update here from Alex Barth.
It's not easy being green.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Bruins fell to 6-2 to the New York Rangers this afternoon at TD Garden. Sorry, fell 6-2 to the New York Rangers at TD Garden. Artemi Panarin
the Sports Hub.
Yeah, the guys know. I mean, they understand. We've got to clean up a few things, and we've got to do better as coaches. We got to do better as players, and so you go back to the drawing board and you keep working. Is what you do. And we were close here, but we had too many opportunities that we gave away, and you can't. Two good teams playing each other, you can't have those things, right?
6-6 Kansas City Chiefs. Yesterday felt like a good day, though, for the Patriots. And I don't know what you really make of the Ravens' outcome. I mean, Lamar Jackson did not look good. They did not look good.
I mean, I don't think that's definitively good or definitively bad for the Patriots. I think there's definitely some fans that probably feel a certain way one way or the other. The fans that are sick of hearing about the easy schedule were probably glad to see the Bengals win, although it's going to flip around because they're going to play the Ravens again in a couple weeks, right? I think some people look at the Ravens now being at 6-6, and that's another team that, even though they don't have the tiebreaker with Kansas City, maybe pushes them down. So, I don't think that's definitively one way or the other. I will give you one sneaky good result, potentially, for the Patriots. They might not need it.
Give it to me.
But one sneaky, I've been on this for a couple weeks now. So the Eagles don't look good again on offense. They're down 10-3 to the Bears. Mm-hmm. Patriots fans sneaky, tangentially want to root against the Eagles. I've been on this.
Why is that?
Just in case it doesn't go well the next couple weeks with all these injuries. And you need a little help to get across the line for the division. The Bills play the Eagles week 17.
Got it.
The Eagles right now might be playing for a ton in that game.
They might have. They're probably going to have lots of
It looked like they were going to run away and maybe be able to kind of sit that game out. Now, ideally, the Patriots don't need it. If the Bills lose one of their next two, that's the Steelers and the Bengals, and the Bills are banged up right now. They're going to be down both tackles against Pittsburgh on Sunday. If the Bills lose one of their next two, or the Patriots win against the Giants, it's hat and T-shirts at Gillette. It's a potential hat and T-shirt game in a couple weeks. But if it goes a certain way, and I came up with this take when it looked a little bit closer, or maybe, maybe the Bills go the way of the Chiefs, and suddenly that game's for a lot more than we think. You want the Eagles playing for something week 17 if you're a Patriots fan. Sneaky important.
All right. Good look ahead there, Barth.
Thank you.
This is why we have you.
I miss doing this. We used to do all these permutations of...
Seriously, though, isn't it great?
This was Patriots fan math.
That we're sitting here Black Friday and we're talking about schedules and not fake path. Not Mike Felger, I'm terrified to talk about the Celtics, Bruins, and Red Sox here in January. No. Like, I need the Patriots to be in it, so they're not out of it. The season's still going on. No, we're actually talking about playoff seeding path math. Bring it on.
And
it's great.
We're doing other teams' path math. This is essentially what we're doing.
Broncos. So I think the Patriots need to go 4-1 to get the first seed, based on Denver's schedule, based on the fact that I think it seems to be trending towards Denver having the tiebreaker. You can't predict that thing 5 weeks out, 6 weeks out at this point.
Denver's probably going to have the tie. Now, the Chiefs falling off would hurt their strength of victory. Mm-hmm. So maybe that flips, but it's probably going to be Denver. And they have one truly hard game left in the Chiefs because it's at Kansas City. It's in prime time.
And Christmas, yep.
And then they have a handful of, not easy games left. So they're off. Or they were off last week. They have the Commanders this week, which Jane Daniels, we'll see. I haven't seen the latest on him, but if he plays, that game's a little different. The Packers look like a legit
tough
team.
Yep.
It's at home, but the Packers look legit. The Jaguars are going to be fighting for playoff positioning. That's at home.
I don't believe them, but I don't believe in the Jaguars. But that game is in Denver. I like Denver in that spot.
And so that's the thing. All these games outside the Commanders, Packers at home, Jags at home, and then they have Chargers week 18, team fighting for the 1 seed versus team maybe fighting to get in the playoffs.
It's going to be a good game right there.
That could be your Sunday night week 18 game.
Tough schedule for sure for Denver. But the Patriots schedule got a lot tougher. With the Milton Williams injury and the injuries on the offensive line, with Buffalo needing a lot to play for, Baltimore needing a lot to play for, probably, to be totally honest, more to play for those teams than the Patriots in those spots. And I'm not saying that the Patriots don't have anything to play for, but let's be honest, Barth. I mean, this is house money for the Pats. I mean, nobody had them contending for the 1 seed. I mean, I think you and I had them contending for the playoffs, but the 1 seed, which is very much a realistic possibility, it is house money. Baltimore and Buffalo have more to play for in those games.
But it's important.
Oh, it is important.
But it's important. Okay, so I get what you're saying, like relative to those two teams.
Yeah, relative to those two. And I'm not saying the Patriots don't have something to play for, that it's not important to them. It is. It is important to them. But is it more important for, the team that is supposed to be contending for a Super Bowl, who might be fighting for their playoff lives? You're telling me that team isn't going to be a little bit more desperate than, the newcomer, the young team, the team that's never been there before, playing with house money, you're on a 9-game winning streak. Like, it is what it is, right? And that doesn't mean it's not important, but it's going to mean way more for Buffalo and Baltimore, my sense.
How do you feel about the Bills at the Steelers this week, down 2 tackles?
Yeah, the 2 tackles thing is no joke.
And a handful of other players.
I don't believe in the Steelers. I just don't. So
okay.
I still believe in Josh Allen, and I still believe in the Bills.
I also believe in TJ Watt a little bit.
I do too. I get it.
How do you feel about them at home against Joe Burrow and a Bengals team that's won there before?
Yeah, the Burrow factor is real. Buffalo's got a tough schedule. They do.
So the point is, if they drop one of those 2, they're now at 5 losses. Is 6 losses going to get you into the playoffs in the AFC?
I think it probably does, but you're sweating it.
Well, okay, and then it won't have happened yet,
Right,
but they have the Eagles too.
Yeah.
They'll have the Eagles.
Right.
So you're looking
And
at
you have the
potentially
Patriots.
10-7. I'm saying like that Patriots game, that you could look at a spot where the Bills need that game to get in.
It's true. 617-779-0985. How about Jake in Boston? Hi, Jake.
Hey.
What's up, gentlemen? McCarthy, did you start the show by going down my pathway on the Thanksgiving, families, yada, yada? Was I hearing that correct?
No, I said we'll get ahead of Mike on Monday, say that, yes, the Bruins need to be removed from their families, given they no-showed this today. Now, I'm not saying I believe that. I'm just saying I felt an obligation in hosting this show, Jake, to acknowledge that will be the take on these airwaves, that they must. There is no choice. They must be removed from their families after not showing up for the first 40 minutes today.
And then I think we pivoted to the Kansas City Chiefs. And I would say this. I think the Kansas City Chiefs have not been the same team since the Eras Tour ended. The distraction was in New Orleans at the Super Bowl. And yes, I think there was that coach who was on the record saying, it wasn't as exciting anymore, yada, yada, yada. Their best players were all out the night before the Super Bowl. And then they were thrown off by this major engagement during training camp, and they had a bye week a few weeks ago, and Mahomes is in Dallas doing game day and now balancing a third child. And then Kelsey's in New York City with Taylor for that entire bye week. And the other thing is like, I think Mahomes is 30 now. These windows aren't unlimited. I know Brady's the exception to that rule. You tinker around with these engagements and these gallivanting, and all of a sudden – the urgency of a 30, 31, 32, 33-year-old Mahomes, that needs to be the mindset in Kansas City, and we've seen the exact opposite.
So that I can get on board with, Jake. We did have the typical Jake in Boston blame the wives and girlfriends for everything that goes on the court, field, ice, you name it, which I will distance myself from. I don't actually believe that. But in the end, if you put it all together, you have coaches coming out saying it's tiring. It does require a level of dedication over the course of many, many years, which, let's be honest, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady were freaks.
Right.
And found a way to dedicate themselves to the sport, the pursuit, more so than just about anybody. But it's not based on the people you have in your lives. It's not based on the Eras Tour ending or anything like that. It is just based, I think, on human nature. When you do something over and over and over again, are you going to get as much fulfillment from it each time it happens? And therefore, are you willing to dedicate yourself to it as much as possible? And I'm sure that's what's going on with Kansas City. There are a million different factors with all of that. But it's really hard to do over the course of 20 years. And I don't know if Mahomes is cut out for that. I just don't.
Well, you got to remember, it's a job to these guys, and it's obviously a relatively fun job, but they are human beings, and can you put that much into your job for that long the way you have to? Like Brady threw everything else to the side, gave up a lot to continue to focus on football.
His family, literally his family.
Well, that was part of it, yes. Well, no, but I also meant he sacrificed. He didn't do a ton of the brand deal. Right. He was
pretty locked in on it for the first decade at least before he started doing a lot of the other stuff before he became the really weird guy who started cloning his dog.
Right. And look, there's nothing wrong with wanting balance, but the people that get to the top, I've always said, to get to the top of any field, at sports, whatever, you got to be there's got to be something up there.
Screw loose.
You got to have something up. And I think Mahomes has a screw loose. Is it as loose as it needs to be to get to that level?
I'm not convinced it is. There's a guy who shows up a little tubby to camp every year, doesn't he?
Odds are it's not.
Fatso.
Odds are it's not, because just the vast majority of people, and especially, look, Mahomes is 30, so maybe this isn't fair to put him in this group, but like Tom Brady, Kobe Bryant, Tiger Woods, like the guys that were just maniacs about it.
Well, Tiger was maniacal in some other
Well, he
ways,
had
too.
some other stuff. All right, he's a bad, but like Tom Brady, Kobe, like that thing.
Tiger's an example of what happens when you let things distract you.
When you let but early in his career.
Oh, yeah.
Early in his career.
He was locked on.
Like,
locked in.
There really are, you don't get athletes like that anymore.
It's a different world.
These guys that are just so, it's almost an illness, how intense they are about it.
How about Mike and Gardner? Hi, Mike.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
What's up?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I feel like you guys are the voice of the people versus guys on the regular show here.
Yeah, I mean, we're
sorry,
heroes. I would agree with that, Mike. Thank you for acknowledging us.
Appreciate that.
No, I just wanted to touch base on you guys were talking about the Kansas City Chiefs and how just burnt out they are. And I think Florida Panthers, I know you guys don't like to cross sports, but Florida Panthers are kind of in the same boat.
Sure, right.
There's many people we can cross sports.
Yeah, right, exactly. We can do that. And I would also say too with Florida, I mean, their injuries there. I mean, Barkov's hurt. So,
Yeah.
I mean, but I mean, especially in hockey, I mean, Florida's played basically an extra season in the last couple of years with the amount of games that they've played. I mean, you go to the Stanley Cup final 3 years in a row.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's so
there's a
hard
physical, not that it's not physical in football, but there's a physical thing on top of the mental thing that comes to that kind of sustainability.
Seasons are way longer.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like those guys, you go until mid-June and you're back at it in September.
Right.
I mean, in football, it's July to February. You get March, April, May, June, almost all of July. Yeah, it's not the hardest lifestyle in sports.
It is during the season.
Yeah, it's a grind.
But you
during
get,
the season.
they get more of a break than everybody else.
Most.
Yeah.
617-779-0985. And it hasn't helped the Chiefs one bit because they are on. I don't want to see them. I still don't want to see them, but
No.
I am ready to acknowledge, Barth, I've finally come around. Yeah, no, they might not. This might not happen for them. Because up until yesterday at about 4:30, I was convinced. They were going to win that game and find a way to bounce back, make the playoffs, and I was terrified they were going to come in here first round of the playoffs, and I'm not feeling that way anymore. All right, we'll continue. It's Matt McCarthy and Alex Barth in for Felger and Maz.
Boston's home for Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Bruins fell 6-2 to the New York Rangers this afternoon at TD Garden. Bees are back at it tomorrow against the Red Wings. The Patriots held their second-to-last practice before taking on the New York Giants on Monday Night Football this week. They also released an injury report. Harold Landry, Brendan Schooler, Jelani Tavai, Kairos Tonga, and Jared Wilson listed as non-participants. For the Giants, they announced quarterback Jackson Dart will start the game after dealing with a concussion. In Thanksgiving NFL action, the Packers beat the Lions, the Cowboys beat the Chiefs, and the Bengals beat the Ravens. Meanwhile, they are late in the third quarter in the Black Friday game. The Bears hanging on 10-9 against the Eagles, who just scored. And in college football, first big day of rivalry week. Ole Miss already won earlier today. Lane Kiffin telling reporters after the game he's not sure yet where he's going to coach next season. Big game in action right now. Georgia leads Georgia Tech 10-3 at the very end of the first half there. And then tonight, major game in the SEC as number 3 Texas A&M visits number 16 Texas. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the 99 restaurants where the kids eat free all Black Friday weekend. Visit for lunch or dinner, and kids can get free meal from the kids menu with every adult entree purchase. You've got to love the Nines. I'm Alex Barth on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 5:30.
You actually coaching the game, or it's just that is. I feel so strongly about that. I can't even tell you.
Boston talk sports here.
What do we got?
Sports. In this town, sports happens 24/7. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Shotgun snap. Joe under pressure. Flings it down the middle of the field. Yossi Bosch leaps at the 3 and takes it into the end zone. A 28-yard touchdown to Andre Yossi Bosch. And the Bengals lead is back to 11 with a PAT.
Oh, well, I think he's overrated because he can't stay healthy. I don't think he's not like one of these guys that's dealing with like a hamstring or this or that, and he's not playing and he's soft, he gets banged up too much. No, he plays behind a horrible offensive line and suffers broken bones and torn ligaments.
It's something else.
It's the Bengals. It's not him.
No, it's their fault. If that you want to talk about something that would drive me to drink if I were a Bengals fan, knowing that you might be ruining Joe Burrow's career, because when he's in there, he's the man. There's no other way to say it. Speaking of that, you know what time it is, Barth?
It is 5 o'clock.
Miller time, baby.
That's right.
5 o'clock on a Friday. This is the ultimate Miller time. Trust me, I think a lot of you started yesterday at about 11 and you haven't stopped since. Miller Lite is celebrating 50 years of Miller time. Cheers to the legendary hour of the week and making the game your tailgate or game day party. Legendary for 5 decades. Legendary stories. Start with the light. Celebrate responsibly. You have a good Thanksgiving?
I did.
Didn't even ask you that.
I should ask you too. I did have a good one. I did nothing, which is the best Thanksgiving. I got up early, which I never do. I don't know what happened. Got up, went down to the beach, walked on the beach for like an hour and a half, went home, took a shower, changed, sat on the couch, watched 3 football games, ate a big meal in between with some delicious turkey. It was excellent.
That is the most Alex Barth day I've ever heard in my life. I'm happy for you. Congratulations.
It was awesome.
I showed, so you know how I feel about turkey.
Yeah.
We've covered this. I've covered this for years. I guess J.D. Vance stole my take the other day.
He very much did, yeah.
I just want the record to show that I've been saying that for years. The turkey is overrated. It's a butterball conspiracy. You all think you like turkey. You actually don't like turkey. Do you know how many phone calls I've gotten over it's always one of 2 things from people, the turkeyists out there. Yes. One, McCarthy, I guess you just haven't had anybody in your life who knows how to cook a turkey. No, I've been to many Thanksgivings with many different cooks. The turkey is always bad. But the second call I always get is, McCarthy, I can tell you've never had fried turkey.
Did you have fried turkey yesterday?
I show up at my Thanksgiving. There are 4 dudes sitting in the driveway, standing around that pot.
It's awesome.
And trust me, they look like they know what they're doing. Just the level of confidence that they emitted standing around that pot. I just walk. I'm like, we frying this thing? He's like, you bet we are. I came to the right place.
And?
Not bad.
There we go.
Not bad. But okay, all right. I've always acknowledged.
Yeah.
If you fry anything, it's going to be good.
Okay, I guess. Well, here's my thing. How do you do the gravy with the fried turkey? How does that work?
I didn't do the gravy because I was like, I want.
Fair enough.
I don't want to say. I mean, can I say raw dogging it?
Yeah, sure.
I just that's what I went.
The gravy's the best part.
Well, I agree, but I wanted to have the true experience. If this was going to be my first fried turkey,
unaltered,
unaltered. Just give it to me as is, so I can offer a real legitimate take on it. Not bad.
Light meat or dark meat?
Light meat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you get the skin on it. Like I like the skin gets a little crispy.
It was not bad, but tolerable, which is a high praise for me with turkey. You know how I feel about it. It's like I would have more of it. I didn't because I was like I know we only have so much of the fried turkey, and I want to spread the wealth for the folks who actually are weird and claim to like turkey. It's like I want them to actually be able to really enjoy this. But you know what? I would do it again.
Not only
do it again.
Did I have it and enjoy it, I carved the turkey yesterday.
Whoa.
This was like my third year doing it.
Whoa.
See, that's the other. You got to try carving it because that experience, like, it makes it that much better because you work for it.
I can barely cut things like with scissors. You don't want me carving your turkey.
That's fair.
That thing would be mangled. And here's the thing, too. I wouldn't care because I'm like, this bird is overrated. It doesn't matter whether I cut it well or not because it's not going to taste good because it's a turkey. So you don't want me anywhere near that thing. You don't want me near the carving station. Know thyself, Barth. It's one of the keys to life. Young Alex over there. Know thyself. That's my advice to you. I'm going to tell you how to live.
That's no. Now thinking about it and having seen you try to or seen you in a kitchen, yeah, you don't need to be carving the turkey.
No, I'm going to stay away from that. Know your strengths and weaknesses. I
might trust you carving mashed potatoes.
Strong. Love a good mashed potato.
Oh, the mashed potatoes are look, I like turkey. I know you think I don't. I do. It's all about the mashed potatoes.
It's about the size.
My brother yelled at me last night that I was taking too many leftover mashed potatoes.
There's no such thing.
Well, no, because he wanted.
We'll get to it first. That'll teach him.
Oh, he did. I said, all right, we'll get yours. He got right up.
617-779-0985. How about Gary in Marblehead? What's up, Gary?
What's up, fellas? How are we today? Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Hey, so listen, I tried to call in the other day with a little trivia question, and I ended up, I couldn't call in, but I stumped Barth off the air, so I got to return the favor and give you another one.
What do you got?
Top 3 Red Sox draft picks by games played all time, regular season. Who do you think?
Well, so are we talking position players or pitchers? Because that's obviously a little bit different.
Well, it's going to be position players. Yeah. By default, because it's games played.
Games played for the Red Sox or games played, period?
All time.
Let's see. When was the draft instituted? Can you help me out with that? Do we know? Basically, is
I'm not that smart.
Is Yaz on the list?
It's like the late 60s, I think.
Yeah, so Yaz wouldn't be on the list. How about, let's see, draft picks. Red Sox draft picks by games played. That's a really good question. Jim Rice.
No, he's top 10, not top 3.
Pedroia got hurt, right? So it's not Pedroia. Wow, that's a really good question. So it's going to be position players. You know, screw it. Pedroia might be on there.
I didn't even see his name.
All right, never mind. Was Dwight Evans drafted by the Red Sox?
Dwight Evans, number one, 2,600 plus games.
Okay, that makes sense. Dwight Evans, number 1. So you have to think about guys who are actually drafted by the team. That's the key there. Evans.
Were any of them drafted in our lifetime?
Yes.
Okay. Evans. Well, Veritek was outside the organization. No. I don't know. You got to give me the other 2.
Wade Boggs, 2.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Jeff Bagwell, 3.
Wow. Okay, so there you go. Bagwell is the... Bagwell's the trick part of that question because he didn't say for the Red Sox, just games played.
I asked him that, yeah. I do have to push back, though. I just looked it up, unless he wasn't drafted. No, he was. So I looked it up. StatHead has Dwight Evans, Carlton Fisk, Wade Boggs, and then Jeff Bagwell.
Yeah, so I was wondering if... See, it's hard to know with when the draft came into effect. You need to know that information.
I think it's 65 because I think Canigliero's was like their first draft pick. I used to know that. In case people are curious, the one he stumped me with, it's a buddy of ours from college, was who has played the most games among Patriots' 7th round draft picks.
Julian Edelman.
Julian Edelman is second. The first guy is like not a dynasty player.
Okay, so way back.
Back-ish.
Was Armstrong a later pick?
Nope. No, Armstrong I think was a first round.
Yeah,
pick.
I was going to say, like, what? Huh?
Your defensive line. You're not going to get this. This is kind of a...
Who is it?
Brent Williams, defensive tackle.
All right.
And then Edelman second, and then Tully Bantakane is third. Yeah, Bruce Armstrong was a first round pick.
God,
but he did something on
probably
that
did play a lot
He
of
hung
games
around for a while
yeah.
playing like special teams.
Yeah. Get back into the Patriots and what yesterday meant for them. Real quick, though. Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Boy, they got lucky. Burrow did not play last week.
They might have dodged one.
And Jamar Chase Dundaro'd himself out of the lineup. They got real lucky with that. They definitely dodged.
They still might have won with just Chase.
Yep.
Maybe. Burrow was, and he was iffy early. Once he kind of got locked in, you hear this with quarterbacks a lot when they come back from an injury. Once you take that first hit, everything just kind of settles in.
Yep.
I thought it was one of those games for Burrow. He missed a couple throws early. He he scrambled or something. He took a hit, and then he was just
The Bengals are going to legitimately change the AFC playoff picture in the next 2 weeks because they play Buffalo and Baltimore.
Well, they're now chasing. So you have the 6-5 Steelers currently leading the division, and Rodgers is going to play this week, but they have a tough schedule down the stretch, and they're the Steelers. You said you're not entirely sold on them.
I'm not at all.
You have the Ravens at 6-6, who nobody knows what they are.
They do not look good. Can we talk? Lamar
They don't
Jackson
look right.
does not look good. I
wonder if he's still hurt.
Yeah.
I wonder if he rushed back. And then you have the 4-8 Bengals, who, they're 2 games back.
So if the Bengals get through, let's say, for the sake of discussion,
and they all play each other twice.
Right. Let's say for the sake of discussion, they find a way to beat Buffalo and they find a way to beat Baltimore. Which again, those are not givens. They then play Miami, Arizona, and Cleveland. Their final 3 weeks.
They're not out of it.
They're not.
And by the way, I would put them in the category, maybe not to the extent of the Chiefs, but I would put them in the category of the teams that are lurking.
Yeah, I don't think they're ultimately going to make it because that is such a tall ask, right? You need a million things to go their way. It's the same thing that happened with Cincinnati last year.
Yeah, they did this last year and they missed it by a game.
Right, they lost a tiebreaker and that was that. Now, I want to talk about an organization that's just not serious. They can't keep Burrow healthy. They started so slow last year. They should be better than they actually are. But I love the way you said it. They're lurking. They are the ultimate playoff spoiler in the AFC right now. Because they're hitting their stride. They're playing 2 teams that are really fighting for a hell of a lot in their next 2 games.
Yep.
Watch out. They're going to find a way to mess some of these things up, which will be the entertainment factor will be top notch.
No, the Bengals are
if you get what you got from Burrow last night.
People in the NBA, they talk about like a league pass team, like a team that you're going to make a point of watching neutral game. The Bengals are like a league pass team right now. Like you're watching the Bengals when they're on. Those are big games. It's going to be fun football when they're playing here down the stretch.
You've heard the stats that not Mac Jones. I am so sorry for that. I apologize. That Drake May has been hit more times in his first 2 years than Joe Burrow. You've heard those stats?
I've seen that, yeah. They ran that up last year a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah.
But this gets into the Patriots and where they're going here with no Will Campbell, no Wilson, this game Monday night. Like the ability to protect Drake May. And I think the Patriots' ability in the trenches over the course of the next month and over the course of the rest of this regular season is my number one question moving forward. Let's get into the Giants game on Monday night. What's going on at the offensive line? We're still not talking enough about the defensive line, and Milton Williams will do all of that. 617-779-0985. It's Matt McCarthy and Alex Barth hanging out.
Boston's home for sports. Boston Sports. We're fans just like you. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Could Marcus Bryant factor in that left tackle, or do you think you guys will stick with Vidarian?
I think the plan right now would be to go with Vidarian coming out of that game, and Marcus will be ready to go.
Has to of the AFC playoff picture instantly because he's that good. He's just outstanding. There's no other way to say it. Matt McCarthy and Alex Barth hanging out until 7:30 tonight. The concern, of course, is that the Patriots get Drake May hit the same number of times that Joe Burrow gets hit, and Drake May eventually starts having injuries pile up. I mean, that's the one thing that you feel like can derail the Patriots because they've got the coach, they've got the quarterback. You just need to keep the quarterback healthy. I don't know. The Joe Burrow thing has to be undeniably, Barth, a warning to the Patriots. I mean, that is an example of what happens when things go wrong. Is it? Am I wrong in connecting the two?
No, I don't think it's apples to apples, but it's maybe like Golden Delicious to Granny Smith. Right? I'm not going to say it's not apples to apples, but the difference is Drake May has the tools to protect himself better than Joe Burrow does.
Does he, though?
He has the tools to.
Does he actually protect himself?
So that's another conversation. He's more mobile, and he can kind of run away from defenders a little more. And I will say, ever since the near concussion in Tennessee, he's done a better job, in particular, of protecting his head when he gets tackled. You can tell he makes a more concerted effort to keep his shoulders up, because if you're keeping your shoulders up, your head's not going to snap back or shouldn't snap back. So don't get me wrong, he's got a long way to go in that regard, but he has the tools to protect himself better than Joe Burrow does. He just needs to do it. But you gave the stat before we went to break there that he's been hit more over his first 2 years than Burrow was. A lot of that was run up last year, and he also runs more than Burrow. So that is kind of to be expected. He's just got to do a better job of, again, protecting himself when those hits do come.
So he probably protects himself better in the pocket than Burrow because he's more mobile.
Right.
That also opens up more open field hits. I mean, that's where his concussions have come from.
I actually think he protects himself in the pocket okay now.
I would agree with that. I think he's definitely improved at that.
If anything,
the open field
to a
stuff.
fault. Everybody gets mad about the sacks. He's going down a lot. He's right. It's when he runs that he's not as good about it.
Yeah, it's the open field stuff. So they're different types of players. More importantly, though, in this moment, can they protect him with Vidarian Lowe as their left tackle and, Jared Wilson also out?
I think they can protect him enough. It's not going to be as good as it was, but there are things they can do. 6 offensive linemen, sending help that way, call a quick hit passing game. This is where I'd love to see them go back to. It was a Josh McDaniels staple. Heard Brady talk about this all the time. Be your own best pass protector. Brian Burns kind of a little bit chirped him this week about, sometimes he's a little too poised in the pocket. He's waiting for the perfect play. They got to be coaching him this week. Hey, just
ball out.
Get the ball out, right? Let these guys make plays after the catch. It's going to be kind of a nickel and dime your way down the field few weeks. You try to work some shots in, maybe have some 7-8 man protection plays, things like that. So there are ways they can help the situation. I don't think they're going to fully regress to where they were last year. Is it going to be worse than it was? Yeah, probably. But I think they can be closer to where they were than what last year was, which was an unmitigated disaster.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard, Vidarian Lowe is not as bad as you saw last year because the coaching is better. And yes, the coaching is better, but I have heard that come up this week, and I do think that is a little bit of hubris from the current coaching staff.
So,
because this is the way it is in football, right? I mean,
right.
I'll coach him up. I mean, it is the coaching industrial complex, Barth.
I do think there's something to Vidarian Lowe will be better in this setting than he was last year. Coaching adjacent, I don't think it's as simple as, and maybe he is getting better coaching, but I don't think it's as simple as, hey, we're going to coach him up. It's sometimes we talk about, well, the line is better than the sum of its parts because everybody's on the same page and it elevates everybody, and players are playing better than maybe what their level of play actually is. I believe the inverse of that also exists. That if the line is so bad, it makes everybody look worse. Mm-hmm. And you maybe couldn't give Vidarian Lowe the kind of help you typically give a player of his caliber because you had to go help Demontre Jacobs. You had to go help Layden Robinson or whoever was at left guard last year, that rotating door.
I hope to never hear those names again.
Ben Brown. And I like Ben Brown. He's a good player. he got here on Thursday and started a game on Sunday with the quarterback making his first career start, right? They had to give a lot of help to a lot of places, and they had to leave Vidarian Lowe out on an island much more than they'd want to. Look, it's a left tackle position. He's going to have to be out on an island sometimes, and yeah, he's not great in those spots, but you can do more to help him now. Morgan Moses is an improvement. Mike Onwenu, same guy, playing better the last few weeks than he was last year, even earlier this season.
Bradbury's been better than I thought.
I trust him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's great, but I trust him. And when you're talking about where are we going to send help, where are we going to slide things, like I'm not worried about over helping Garrett Bradbury. And I like Ben Brown. The bigger thing to me is the chemistry. Where's the chemistry at? Because I think they'd come a long way. And now you've got two new guys on that left side. How much have they played together? How much have they played with everybody else? But I do think they're going to be able to do some to help Vidarian Lowe. It's not going to be everything. And again, it is going to be noticeable that Campbell's not out there. But Lowe should be a little bit better than he was last year. Not because of him, but because of everybody that's around him.
Right, the situation around him. And it is true. I mean, Doug Marone's a really good offensive line coach.
One of the best.
So, I acknowledge that there's a factor of that. I do think some of it. I heard Bedard, on post game, basically saying, no, Vidarian Lowe is not as bad as you saw last year because, the coaches are better than they were last year. That is so typical of an NFL coach to say, no, that guy doesn't suck as much. Well, I'm here. I'm going to fix that guy. There's a small element where you're right, Barth, because the rest of the line is in better shape than it was last year. It's probably going to be better. Because the coaching is better than last year, it's probably going to be better. I just still think the drop-off between Campbell and Lowe is massive, and we should not lose sight of it.
I don't want to... It's two different conversations, right? How big is the drop-off from Campbell to Lowe?
Massive.
And can they still get by with Lowe?
Okay, yeah.
So
for a few weeks, probably.
I don't know.
At least in this game.
Right. I don't know. It's tough, just the way I cover the team. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on how big is the drop-off, because it is what it is. Right, I'm more interested in how are they going to manage it, and I do think they're in okay position to manage it.
You've made the point, and it's true, that there are not 32 left tackles on planet Earth.
Starting caliber, yeah, NFL starting caliber left tackles.
They don't exist. Nope. Now, if we're talking about your third tackle, I think there are probably teams out there who have a better third tackle situation than the Patriots.
Probably,
I think undeniably. I've seen Vidarian Lowe play. It's not good. It was a little better in Cincinnati than it was at times last year, and a guy who came in the game, I mean, it could have been worse. But I don't think this is the game where it shows up. And I know Brian Burns is a good player, but I just think it shows up. I think the Patriots' problem in the trenches will show up more against the better teams, against Buffalo and against Baltimore, and particularly against Buffalo. Maybe not necessarily on the offensive side of the ball, but the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Because we're still not talking enough about the absence of Milton Williams, which I want to get to, but we'll take care of you. 617-779-0985. Lucas is in Norfolk. Hey, Lucas.
Hey, how are you? Just talking after watching the games on Thursday. You see who faltered. You see who failed. Kansas City and the Ravens, they have to push. They have to just figure it out. The coaching's much better. The O-line, I think, will be okay. Get to the bye with another W, and then go. You have to push. You're not going to get another chance like this in the AFC. All right, guys, have a good one.
All right, see it. It's a down year. There's no doubt about it. And Barth, you know me. I have been pounding the table for the iron of the AFC is still real. They're down, but you don't want to see them in the playoffs. I'm starting to waver on some of that. I'm wavering on the fact that Kansas City is going to get there. I don't think they're going to get there. I believe they're going to get there all year long. I'm starting to waver on Buffalo. I mean, the way they looked last Thursday night. I'm certainly wavering on the Ravens after what I saw last night. I don't think there's something not right there. So we were up at the Brook 2 weeks ago at this point, Barth, and you know how I felt about it. That the AFC. That the bottom of the AFC playoff picture still had a lot of bite to it. I'm starting to doubt myself on that.
It's two things, and I think I said this to you then. I'll revisit it. And you were kind of down on this take, so I'm curious if you feel differently now. There's that, we're so used to that upper class of the AFC the last 3-4 years, and this goes back to what we talked about earlier about how things change in the NFL very quickly. It's the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, and kind of the Bengals and Houston alternated as that fourth team. And then there was a pretty significant gap And you didn't really have a middle class in the conference, then you had everybody else. And I think what's happened this year is that like elite tier doesn't exist. The best teams in the AFC are not as good as the best teams in the AFC were last year, whoever they are.
Agreed.
So I think you had that top class because of age, because of roster moves, injuries, whatever. That class has taken a step back. And then a group of these other teams that were down, the Patriots, the Broncos, the Colts, you want to throw the Chargers in there by all means, they've gotten better because, you're bad enough for long enough, you're going to hit on a couple draft picks, sign some free agents, and take off. And in the Colts case, they hit on Daniel Jones, although we haven't talked about Daniel Jones' injury. But that gap has shrunk. And maybe it's not closed all the way, but it's shrunk to the point where it's now very manageable for those teams on the lower end of things.
And 2 weeks ago, I'm not sure if I bought into that.
You did not. You disagreed.
I'm buying in now. I think the iron of the AFC is, I will say it, and I'm literally the last person on planet Earth to realize this. It's not the first time. Light has dawned over Marblehead, folks. Yes, the iron of the AFC is down. Kansas City's not what they once were. Buffalo's not what they once were. Baltimore's not what they once were. And it's not a mirage.
I will say this.
It's real.
Don't sleep on Houston. They're going to get C.J. Stroud back.
I like that team. The Stroud thing, there's something not right about C.J. Stroud in the last year and a half, but that defense is legit.
That defense is legit.
I don't want to see them.
And they've got good playmakers, and if it just clicks a little bit for C.J. Stroud, they're going to be in good shape.
All right, we'll continue. Quick update from Alex Barth.
Golden Delicious to Granny Smith.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Bruins fell 6-2 to the New York Rangers this afternoon at TD Garden. Artemi Panarin had 4 points for the Rangers in that game. The Bees back at it.
Celtics, the Patriots, the Sox, the Revs, and you. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Takes the snap, sets his right foot, steps up in the pocket. Now he throws a little check down pass complete. Likely 25, 20, likely to the 10, 5, hurdles a man, touchdown, Isaiah Likely. But hold on, this play may not stand. Likely lost control of the ball before it broke the plane.
I can't describe the level of frustration. I'm ticked off. It's not even frustrating. I'm just mad because, like I said, we can't have that. And turnovers is a big part of winning, losing games. And turning the ball over, giving them an extra possession, this is the outcome.
Another bad 02-03 song. Well done, George.
I think this was in MVP baseball, too.
This is in a lot of games back. Was it in one of the Midway games? Midway hockey? What NHL?
It was definitely
NHL
a hockey
hits,
game.
Right? Man, those Midway games were awesome. I went to, Barth, you would have loved this spot. I went to a barcade in Providence for a Halloween party about a month ago, and they had NFL Blitz.
Oh,
The
there's a
old
place
arcade.
in Boston that has that. They have Blitz and NBA Jam right next to each other.
What an absolute joy that was.
Awesome.
I hadn't played that game in, 15 years. I had it for N64, so I wasn't as, it wasn't as natural as the arcade, with one button, the little joystick type of thing. But, that was absolute joy to bomb every play. That's how you do it. The greatest play in the history of football. It's not Spider XY Banana or whatever it is. It's to bomb.
Yeah.
All time. All time. What do you have strong thoughts on the fumble touchback?
Every time it happens, there's all this discourse over it, which, I don't know, it just annoys me. And it is inconsistent. I do think the player, there should be some sort of being disincentivized for reaching the ball to the goal line. Mm-hmm. But the ball can also be punched out and recovered by the defense. It's not if that rule's not there, it's not disincentivized. Also, I would propose one of two changes. Either if you fumble it out of the end zone, the offense gets the ball at the 20 going in, so it's 1st and 10 from the top of the red zone, except on 4th down. On 4th down, it would have to be a turnover. Or make it so anywhere on the field, if a fumble goes out of bounds, it's a turnover.
See, I don't get what people don't understand about this rule. Oh, the dumbest rule in football. No, it literally makes so much sense when you think about the actual goal of the game and how the game is played.
It's the dumbest rule in football, not because it's inherently a bad rule. It's a dumb rule because it's inconsistent.
No, it's extraordinarily consistent. If you kick the ball, right? Yeah. If you kick the ball out of the end zone, what is it?
Which way?
It's a touchback. If you give up possession of the ball, and the ball goes through the end zone, the other team gets the ball.
But that's on
it's a touchback.
Play designed to flip possession.
Okay, but flip it, losing possession of the ball.
Well, so how about this? If you
it makes the ball live, so if it goes out of your opponent's end zone, the same way on a kickoff or a punt, if the ball goes out of your opponent's end zone, they get the ball at, what used to be the 20-yard line. But yes, that's what it is. Literally the goal of the game is carry the ball across that line. And if you kick the ball or drop the ball or throw the ball across that line, well, not if you throw the ball, because it's a forward pass.
Right.
But if that ball goes across that line and rolls out of bounds, the other team gets the ball at the 20-yard line. This is football.
What happens when you kick the ball out of bounds?
The other team gets the ball there.
So I'm saying, make it consistent.
Yes.
Any fumble out of bounds, anywhere on the field, not just in the end zone, is a turnover. And if it's not in the end zone, then you do it at the spot where it went out of bounds or whatever, where it was fumbled.
I don't hate it. But
so the biggest defense I hear of that rule is the defense needs one rule that benefits the defense, which is true.
Very true.
The game is way too tailored to the offense. I would say, okay, I'm with you. Let's take it to another level then. Any fumble that goes out of bounds, think about how interesting that would make some of these games.
Yeah, fumble that goes out of bounds, the defense gets the ball. I don't hate it. No, I don't hate it at all. The only thing is though, literally the goal, the entire premise of the sport is defend the goal line. And if the ball rolls out, if you lose possession of the ball in any way, and it rolls out of bounds across the opponent's goal line, they get the ball because they have successfully defended the goal. It is literally the premise of the sport. Do we not understand that?
I still get
flashbacks. Have we watched football before?
I get flashbacks to the Ben Watson chase down of Champ Bailey and how they got that wrong. But
there was no definitive angle on that. We all want that to be a touchback.
You don't get to defend the rule and then not take a strong stance on Benjamin Watson. That's not how this works.
No, the strong stance is they actually got the call right.
That's like being. This is like being like, yeah, I like the tuck rule, but
deductive
Brady fumbled.
And we have technology nowadays to write down the goal line and these pylon, obviously things that we didn't have back in the day.
Show me the definitive angle that Ben Watson actually that the ball
it's just
went out of
deductive
bounds.
Reasoning. He's hidden him and exploding him before the goal line.
You can't use deductive reasoning. You have to have it on footage. That's replay,
which
right.
they didn't have. So in the moment they got the call right. We all wish that into existence because it was an awesome play, and you're like, well, that is the deserved result. But nobody can actually prove to me that the ball actually went out through the end zone.
Also a weird time period.
Because it probably didn't.
Like fumbles back then weren't rewarded on review back in the day either.
To go back to the rule, I call it the dumbest rule in football, even if you enjoy it and you think it makes sense. Can you at least agree it's just random?
It's just not.
There's this one very specific situation. If the ball's fumbled here, the offense gets the ball back. If it's fumbled half an inch this way, the defense gets it. It's just like a random weird rule. Hey, I love all the things that are weird about football.
I don't
think
weird
it's rule.
I don't think it's weird and random. Like everybody thinks it's weird and random and arbitrary. Well, the ball goes out of the end zone and therefore the other team gets it. No, that is literally the exact premise of the sport.
Right, you can't reward Isaiah Likely for fumbling right there at the goal line.
Defend the goal line. If the ball goes out, it's your ball and you take it down the other side. That is the original idea of football. That's how we came up with the sport. Then, carry ball over line. Oh, take ball away.
So again, I would say then kickoff goes out of bounds, punt goes out of bounds. It's also a turnover. Kickoff goes out of bounds, a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Make it the same the rest of the. If they made it the same the rest of the field, I'd be super into that. Because now, like, you see guys like there's a fumble and guys just kind of bat it out of bounds. You ever see an offensive player do that? Like, he knows he can't recover it, so and the defensive player can't do that, and it's like...
It's an illegal touching. I always like that signal.
Well, I always like it when the punt goes over the head, or the snap goes over the head of the punter, Mike Vanderjack, right? And they have to just kick it out of the back of the end zone. What a demoralizing act to have to commit as a football player. The ball's just flat on the ground. You just have to, okay, here's 2 points. I love that play.
The long
so
snapper's
funny.
name was Justin Snow, right?
Sounds right.
Yeah,
I should know that.
Snow.
I should know that.
You should. That's right up your alley, Barth. 2003 Patriots. It wasn't over Vanderjack. Said they were punting.
Not Lonnie Paxson, no.
Yes, they were punting.
Yeah, Justin Snow. No, the Colts long snapper was Paxson for the Patriots.
So think about it. If you tackle the ball carrier in their own end zone where they are supposed to defend, what happens? Who gets the ball?
The defense.
The other team gets the ball. Because you have prevented them from going into your end zone. In fact, you kept them in their own end zone, so therefore what happens if you get tackled there? You get the ball. The whole premise of the sport is defend the line.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Let's just make it consistent. That's all I'm saying.
I'm with you on that. I don't mind that rule, but I just get so bothered. It's like, oh, it's arbitrary. It's the dumbest rule in sports. Obviously, you've never thought about the premise of the entire game. You are the dumb one, sir. Use your brain.
It also just costs people fantasy points and they get upset.
It's the fantasy.
Also, like Isaiah Likely, sometimes it's needed. He was in. There was no reason for him to expose the ball at that point. It was also just a bad play. And again, to the people who say, well, no, you need the rule because it discourages reaching the ball out at the goal line. That ball just as easily could have been recovered by the Bengals. Like, you still don't want to I'll fumble going into the end zone, whatever, we'll get it back. No, the defense can still recover the ball in the end zone.
Let me ask you this, too. Is it an exciting play? Think about it. Like, the ball comes out, you're like, oh, crap. Oh, it's going the other way.
And this is another part of the reason it's a dumb rule or a weird rule.
Not
the
weird.
refs don't fully understand it sometimes, and it takes them forever. It's always like a 10-minute review, and it kills it. So it's exciting the second it happens, and then go get a snack. Because this is part of my crusade against the refs this year. Everything takes too long. Mm-hmm. All these little conferences they have to have and not knowing the basic rules. Every single time it takes them forever to review it. Every time. Even if it's clear.
That you were spot on about. 617-779-0985. It's actually the rule in all of sports that makes the most sense. Just think about it. Just use your brains for a moment. When you're watching the football game, when you're watching the grown men smash their brains in, use yours for a second to think about the concept.
What about
the idea?
How do you feel about the infield fly rule?
The infield fly rule is easy. It makes
perfect sense.
But like the whole point of the game, you catch the ball to make an out, but now you don't have to catch the ball all of a sudden.
Yes.
It's to prevent base
it's
running.
Prevent double plays.
Yeah.
We all know it. Like,
you're not going to get by.
I thought I had you.
No. You definitely didn't. You know who does not understand
what
the
is
fly
the
rule
worst?
is the Boston Red Sox. as they proved against Colorado this year, the Red Sox have no understanding, no concept whatsoever of when the umpire points his hands in the air and says infield fly, batters out. They are like, what? Huh? What?
What would you say is the worst rule in baseball? Excluding all the new pace of play, okay, pitcher has to face the minimum, like, what would you say is the worst rule in baseball?
Ooh. The box too complicated. I don't think the average fan can understand it.
I don't think the average umpire can understand it.
Well, that is also true. Yeah, the balk.
It's very inconsistently called.
There are too many things that are a balk that shouldn't be a balk. Yeah, the balk's a problem. Because the whole purpose of the balk is you don't deceive the runner, which I get in concept. They need to tweak it a little bit.
Right, because back when guys had the whole, whoopsie-doo, underhand, 3-time windmill windup, and
you know what's gotten actually really out of control in baseball is obstruction, blocking the base without the ball. But we've litigated that way too much. It's very simple. If you have the ball, you can block the base. If you don't have the ball, you can't put your knee down. If you actually block the runner from touching the base. The runner has a right to the bag. It's basically the only right the runner has. You can't block it without the ball. If you have the ball, you can lie it. But like we've bastardized that rule with replay and like the points of emphasis. It's a very simple rule and concept. We need to move away from the absurdity of it. Block the base with the ball. You can't be on the base without the ball. Very simple. You have to give a path for the runner.
You know which rule bugs me? Because I feel like every time, it doesn't come up a lot. Every time I see it, it's wiping out a very exciting play. I don't even remember what the term. Like when the ball gets stuck under the outfield wall.
Oh, what happened in the World Series?
Yeah.
Just a dead ball.
Yeah, no, ground rule double.
They're just way too liberal about it. Like the outfielder just throws his hands up. Like it's not always that stuck. Like I see the guy throw his hands. I'm like, come on.
No.
You could have gotten the ball.
Everybody. So did you have a problem with that in the World Series?
I'm trying to remember the World Series one.
Game 6?
I got to watch it. There was one.
No, I had no problem with it
So
whatsoever.
I don't remember the World
That's
Series
the rule.
one. There was one I was watching in March between the Rockies and the Athletics that wiped out.
You remember that one, but
Correct.
you don't remember the controversial one in the World the one that everybody had a problem with before Kike Hernandez doubles the guy up at second base to end Game 6. You don't remember that one?
I don't remember that one, but I remember the should have been walk-off grand slam
what it was?
for the 3-win Rockies against the 2-win Athletics.
I now know why. It was a Friday night. The whole world was, as we know based on the ratings.
I think there was a college football game
The
on
whole
that night.
world was watching the World Series, but Alex Barth was watching Prairie View A&M against Utah State.
No, there was a big college football game on that night. I'm trying to remember what it was.
It was probably a 5-score game.
Because I was flipping back and forth.
617-779-0985. Barth, who would the final word be brought to us by typically?
Final word would be brought to you by Town Fair Tire. Looking for the best deals on tires, there's only one place to go, Town Fair Tire. The best prices and great free services. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
They got it right in the World Series. That was a ground rule double. It's the rules in place for a reason. I have no problem with it. If you have a problem with it, you're just somebody who likes complaining about umpires, which means you're a loser.
But he's still able to get the ball out of the wall and throw it in.
Would it have changed the play significantly? No, it is what it is. Well, I mean, it would have because the run scores.
Yeah, the run would have scored, potential triple over a double.
It's been on the books forever. It's in there. I understand the reason why it's in there. It makes sense.
I understand why it's in there, but the ball should have to be really wedged in.
Okay, but here's the thing. You're not going to be able to determine that in the moment. Like the umpire is not along, unless you're positioning an umpire on the warning track.
Well, they usually have that in the World Series, don't they? Have outfield umpires?
Yeah, okay, so if the umpire is there before the player and can determine in the moment while the play is happening that the ball is actually significantly lodged, it's impossible to adjudicate. So just keep the rule as is.
I guess.
It's not that big a deal. And if you thought it was a big deal in World Series Game 6, well, then you're just one of those people who likes to complain about the refs. You're just one of those losers. You're probably one of those people who goes to Little League and yells at the 13-year-old umpire. That's probably who you are. Zolak. And my guy Doug Lazon, if he's listening. Doug, I love you. You know I love you. 617-779-0985. One of the great coaches in the history of Carver Youth Baseball. The great, legendary Doug Lazon. We'll continue. It's Matt McCarthy and Alex Barth. I do want to get in to this Red Sox reporting from John Heyman. We'll do that next. See, this is why you tune in to me, Matt McCarthy.
Boston's home for sports. Paisley Media Group station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Bruins lost this afternoon. They fell 6-2 to the New York Rangers at TD Garden. Quick turnaround, though. They're back at it tomorrow at home against the Detroit Red Wings. The Patriots return to practice today as they get ready for their Monday Night Football matchup with the New York Giants. On today's injury report, Harold Landry, Brendan Schooler, Kyrus Tonga, and Jared Wilson all did not practice. Jelani Tavai was limited. Elsewhere in the NFL, the Black Friday game just wrapping up, and it's the Chicago Bears going into the Link and beating the Philadelphia Eagles 24-15. Results from yesterday were the Packers over the Lions, the Cowboys over the Chiefs, and the Bengals over the Ravens. And in college football, rivalry week continues. One game in action right now. Georgia up on Georgia Tech 13-6. Big game tonight with Texas A&M taking on Texas. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. Enjoy the game with the original triple distilled, triple blended, and triple cask matured Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. Please drink responsibly. I'm Alex Barth on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Mays under center, offset off.
Drake May.
Throws down. Drake rolls well, wrecking traffic. Off balance, throws the end zone. Caught by the pass is going to be.
Drake May plays on one station in Boston.
Here's another Drake May moment. Drake May.
98.5 The Sports Hub. No matter what team, no matter what player, no matter what coach, no matter what game, it all happens here. 98.5 The
Thoughts on the worst rule in sports, as Barth just spent the last 5 minutes arguing how we need to alter the Major League Baseball lodged ball in the outfield.
Well, I think
rule.
we fixed it. Once you put your hands up as the outfielder, you can't. Play's dead. Can't touch the ball.
You're very passionate about this rule
because that was an awesome play that I watched that got ruined. I showed you the play, and you put your hands up. An umpire goes out there. If the umpire can easily unstick the ball, it's 2 bases for everybody on the base paths. If the umpire can't get it out, okay, fine, it was stuck.
You really want some fat-ass umpire waddling out to left center field in the middle of a May baseball game where he then tries to grip a baseball and determine how lodged it is under the padding in the outfield?
The way you describe that makes it sound hilarious, so yes.
You don't want that. Nobody wants that. Okay, maybe you want that, but I acknowledge, and I say this, I've known you for 15 years, you are weird and you are different, which is my favorite thing about you. But the average fan does not want that. How many times has this come into play?
Not that one often. In a million, right? Very cynical.
Yes, yeah. And you know what? They got it right in the World Series. Calm down, everybody. Seriously. The worst rule in sports, if you're gonna make your argument, this is the baseline you must meet, is that the spirit of the rule makes no sense. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why people argue, oh, well, the touchback makes no sense until you actually use your brain.
Right.
With the big brain on Jeff there, until you use your brain and realize the purpose of football is to carry the ball over the line and defend the line, and if the ball goes out, the other team gets the ball. The same way that if you get sacked or tackled in your own end zone, the other team gets the ball.
Well, is it a rule that like the spirit of the rule is broken, or is it? I guess there's some like gray area here in terms of what's the worst rule in terms of the rule itself being bad, in terms of how it's enforced being bad. Because like if we're gonna do the worst, my least favorite rule in sports is in hockey when 5 minutes of offensive zone time, you score, and then they go all the way back, and half an inch of the guy's blade was over the line, so suddenly the goal doesn't count. Like, if I had to pick my least favorite, like, call in sports, it's that, no question.
Okay, so...
But that's not like offsides is a good rule, though.
Yes, okay, but you're right. The implementation of that, the offsides review, I mean, the purpose of that, the spirit of that is to overturn something egregious that directly leads to a goal.
Right.
I would just say that, like, the ball getting lodged under the outfield padding, the purpose of that is sometimes the ball gets stuck and it's a ground rule double.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad rule. It just annoys me.
But it just doesn't happen that much.
Well, I think if it's a really bad rule, it probably is something happens. That's called rarely.
No, I think if it's a really bad rule, it's something that happens frequently, and you're like, damn it, this thing again?
But I feel like if it was bad and it happened that frequently, they'd get rid of it.
Yeah.
So I feel like it is some like when I think of bad rule, I'm thinking of like some weird niche rule like comes up a couple times a year. You're like, oh, you got to do this again. My least favorite would be, I don't know if it's a rule, but like the very ticky-tack offsides review like 3 minutes after a goal is scored.
Yeah. No, you're on to that for sure.
That one sucks. If it's part of the goal and it's like a fast break, fine. I get it. They've established zone offense. If they've made a change, yeah, they're in the zone. It didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's be honest. What is a catch in football? I mean, that's... And I feel like we went through a phase there, this is in the Des Bryant era where it came up every single time there was a big overturn in a Cowboys game, Cowboys-Lions, and yeah.
I actually thought I had that one down, and then there was a bad one in the Packers game yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
That should not. I think it was Dontavian Wicks. That should not have been a catch. The ball was moving in his hands. I like the rule for that. If your older relative who's never watched football walked in front of the TV and saw the replay, would they say catch? Yes or no? That's the
a catch is like porn. I know it when I see it.
Sure.
That's what a catch is. How about Jeff in Brockton? Hey, Jeff.
Gentlemen, how are you?
How you doing?
Not too bad. Real quick, Wicks, that was not a catch. Just saying. So,
I'm with you.
Sticking with baseball, in my opinion, by far the worst rule is that the pitcher is now only allowed to throw to first twice to hold the batter on, which means after the second throw to first, you're basically telling the batter to take as big a lead as you want.
You know what, Jeff? I'm kind of with you on that. I think it needs to go to 3 at this point. I know why they did it.
Yeah.
Pace of play, but they implemented that rule before.
That was before the pitch clock, right? A couple years, yeah.
Now, it has led to more stealing of bases, which is good, which is more action in the sport. I'd like to see them bump it up to 3.
So I said to you...
2 is, it's a little... stolen bases are a little bit gimmicky in baseball right now. Jeff's right about that.
I said to you before, like, throw out the pace of play rules, because I was trying to think, like, old ingrained things. But if we're going to bring that back, I actually don't mind that rule because of the increased stolen bases. Mm-hmm. Bring back the lefty specialist. It was such a good strategy. Yep. Like, it was an angle of the game. It made the managers more important. That the 3 batter minimum I don't like because
I'm not a fan of it either.
It removes them, and now that that was pre-pitch clock too, right? So now you have the pitch clock back. Maybe you limit it. You say, okay, in 1 inning a game, you get to do this or something. You limit so it's not 5 pitchers for 5 batters. But I would like to see the return of the lefty specialist. That was always a fun angle.
I'm not gonna pound the table on that one because in the end, I don't want to tempt the pace of play gods too much. I also think, you need to have roster limits on pitchers at this point. Like, I'd love to see like a game day roster for pitchers, how many pitchers you can use over the course of 9 innings, because you want starting pitchers to matter more. You don't want as many pitching changes because it slows the game down. I would like the manager to be able to say, I want this guy for 1 batter and then I'm going to a next guy. But I think if you have a game day limit on pitchers you can use in 9 innings, that kind of eliminates that.
And now there's a whole other strategy to it.
Right. I don't hate that. That's where baseball needs to go. To be honest,
you do like 4 pitchers, 5 pitchers?
5 pitchers per 9.
5 pitchers per 9. Because the other thing I was going to say is, what if the 3 batter minimum rule...
And eliminate the 3 batter minimum as part of that.
Right. So
that's the trade-off.
I wonder if you borrow from football, like football had to make these changes, and just because of it necessitated... There are certain restrictions around when you can do an onside kick. Mm-hmm. What if the 3 batter minimum rule, it exists before the 7th inning, so 1 through 6, it's still 3 batters. And if, I don't know, more than like a 5-run margin, you have to do the 3 batters. So it only exists late in close games, or it's only lifted late in close games.
Yeah, I mean, I could get on board with that because I think that serves the fan, right?
Right.
I mean,
I'll watch a good game if it's a little slower, if it's a good game.
Well, right. I mean, look at the playoffs.
Right.
I mean, playoff games, they back off on the pitch clock a little bit. I mean, it works, right? But you're not saying, I just watched a 3.5-hour World Series game. I mean, that World Series game 7 ended at midnight. That was a 4-hour game.
Didn't have any problem with that.
It was one of the 3 greatest games in the history of the sport. That's why 51 million people watched it. It was that good. Nobody was complaining about pace of play at that point. So, trust me. But baseball's fixed their pace of play problems.
Right.
The pitch clock is, you want to talk about, actually, if we're talking about the worst rule in sports, how about the best rule change any of these sports have done? Is the pitch clock the best rule change in sports across all sports in how long?
Probably since the NHL added the trapezoid.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, right?
Football and basketball haven't really done anything that groundbreaking.
Well, I mean, it's probably the best change since the shot clock.
Was for a shot clock or 3-point line?
Shot clock.
Shot clock, right. So some people would argue 3-point line, but yeah.
Joe Mazzulla would argue 3-point line.
That's going further back. Like the trapezoid was during the last big lockout, right? Like 04, 05, whatever that was.
No, the trapezoid would have been in before that, right?
No, I think Barth is right. It's fairly recent.
Well, they eliminated
2005.
Okay, all right. They eliminated 2-line pass.
Correct.
Which
they did some pace of play things.
Which honestly, that's even better. Like eliminating the 2-line pass. That was, the sport had to get rid of that.
Yeah.
But no, I think pitch clock.
So probably call it 15, 20 years since the NHL tweaked things out of the lockout.
I think pitch clock is even more impactful. But I'm saying that as a baseball person, that pitch clock is even more impactful than 2-line pass, than the trapezoid. I mean, I think it's the most impactful rule change in any of these sports since shot clock.
Basketball really hasn't had a major change since the 3-point line. Maybe they move it back.
They need it
so
now.
Maybe they're overdue. The biggest changes in football were the kickoff and they moved the extra point back. I mean, you could argue, I guess, some of the restrictions they put on defense.
Yeah,
some people probably like that.
And it's changed. That's changed the way the style of play.
Yeah.
But to be totally honest, they did that because people like offense. So that was now it doesn't serve my preferred style of play. I actually like slower paced, slog it out, physical football games. Like I like low scoring football games, but I'm a weirdo. All right. I also like the double switch. I like pitchers hitting. So don't trust my opinion.
I missed that as well.
Oh, the double switches turn me on.
NL. They need the NL.
So where would you put the NLDH?
I hate it.
Or the DH in general.
I hate it.
Where would you rank the DH
right,
among the worst rule in sports?
Screw it. Crackpot ideas, all right? It's Black Friday. I welcome your crackpot ideas at 617-779-0985. You know the number one rule change I want to see in maybe all of sports, outside of adjusting maybe some of the 3-point stuff in the NBA?
What?
I want to see the hook DH in baseball. Do you know what the hook DH is?
No.
When you pull your starting pitcher,
you lose the DH.
The designated hitter.
I mean, so your relievers have to hit, or that spot has to.
Special Ohtani rules that exist now.
You have to manage the game. But most importantly, what that does is that makes the starting pitcher even more important, which is good for baseball.
Anything that keeps starters in the game longer, I'm in.
So yes, you take the big bat out, so basically you play an American League style of game for the first part of the game.
Yeah.
But then you play a National League style of game for the second part of the game. And you can come up with some rules, I don't know, to try and create a better fan experience out of it. But hook DH. It would be. I am such a proponent of that because, again, starting pitchers are the stars of baseball. What's your number one takeaway from watching Game 7? It's what Yamamoto did, right?
Right.
He is a legit bona fide star. The average sports fan in America now knows who Yoshinobu Yamamoto is and will reference that appearance and will reference what he did for years because he is a starting pitcher and he came out of the bullpen and did what he did. The more you can market your starters and the more you can get your starters involved, that would be good. Hook DH.
So
I get to baseball.
I wanted to see when I was a kid, like the DH, you get to DH for one player regardless of position.
Well, no, you can do that. That's the rule.
Well, I wanted to see it become more popular. Like you had, remember Carlos Zambrano?
Yeah.
Was like a good hitter.
Yeah.
Maybe you have like a nasty defensive shortstop who's like a 150 hitter.
Yeah.
When Carlos Zambrano pitches, you're DHing for the shortstop.
I mean, that's and actually,
I would have liked to see that happen.
I would have to check and see if that's still the rule. Because they have tweaked a lot of the DH stuff with Ohtani.
I wouldn't be surprised they got rid of it.
I just haven't followed, because Ohtani changed everything. But again, baseball did that for fan service to get Ohtani, so that's good, right?
Right.
Any rule change, you really have to think about it from the fan's perspective. But yeah, I hear what you're saying on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm telling you, hook DH, man.
Sounds good.
It'd be so good. It'd be so good.
And
for
you know
the
what?
sport.
You can tie it into the 3-batter minimum. Your starter has to go X number of innings in order to get rid of the 3-batter minimum.
Yeah.
Right? If your starter doesn't go at least six full, Well, now every reliever has to face 3 batters. If your starter gets through 6,
right,
you get short hook.
Let's say if your starter gets through 6, gets through 7, or whatever, you can set an inning number, and then you don't lose your DH.
Yeah, something like that.
Something along. But there's something to do there with the DH that will encourage you keeping your starting pitcher in the game. Otherwise, figure it out, manage it.
Right.
National League manager.
Bullpen day would actually be you can't
eliminates
afford it. Right.
It eliminates it. It eliminates the bullpen day. Is that good for baseball or bad for baseball if you eliminate the bullpen?
Very good
day?
for baseball.
No doubt about it. I mean, you think about it. That Game 5 between the Brewers and the Cubs, and the Brewers opened with their closer. Kiss my ass.
No, thank you.
Kiss my ass. 617-779-0985. Worst rule in sports on the board. Best rule in sports on the board. Crackpot ideas, rule changes, anything you want. We'll get to the Red Sox too. Done a lot of Patriots, did some Bruins earlier. It's Black Friday. It's Alex Barth, Matt McCarthy hanging out.
Boston's home. in sports? Yeah, we got that covered. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
All right, Matt McCarthy, Alex Barth hanging out until 7:30. We've got room for you at 617-779-0985. On the table right now, best rule changes in sports, worst rules in sports. What else is on the table? What else? Didn't we have one more thing? Crackpot rule ideas.
Yes. I have one more before we get started here for football. And I think one of the spring leagues did this at one point.
Of course you would know that.
I don't know that I want to see the NFL do this, but it would be cool.
How was the
in theory.
USFXFL? Because I know you're
UFL
a huge,
now.
It's
UFL.
it's now the UFL.
Yeah.
So did the XFL and the USFL, did they have a baby?
They merged.
They had a baby.
They merged, yes.
And they called it the UFL.
The UFL.
That's then,
correct.
like a Disney movie, Mommy and Daddy didn't make it.
Well, no, there's only one league left.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so they merged.
I think it would be really interesting if every quarter had a 2-minute warning and a position change instead of the end of each half. So you would the idea would be essentially you double the number of 2-minute drills, which is to a lot of people the most exciting time in a football game. So it would get rid of the double score, kind of. It would change it, but like 2 minutes left in each, and you'd have to change the timeouts. You can't have 6 timeouts per half. I don't know, but like the idea that you have that late push 4 times a game instead of twice a game.
Here's a problem you're going to run into with that. It's going to make the game too long.
Yeah, that would be an
football
issue.
is already trending in a not so great pace of play direction anyway.
Yeah.
Make the game too long. But we welcome all ideas at 617.
It's a theory. I don't think it would work in practice, but it's a theory.
779-0985. How about Matt in Weymouth? Hey, Matt.
Hey, guys. How's it going? What's up? Hope you're having a good night there. One of the rules I absolutely hate is football on kickoffs when the return in fields the ball's in bounds, but he has 1 foot out of bounds, and it incurs a kick out of bounds penalty, bringing it out to the 40. I hate that rule.
Oh, I love that rule. And you'll see, like, I think it was Randall Cobb who was lying down, so his foot was out of bounds when he picked the ball up, so it was technically a kickoff out of bounds.
I remember. Oh my God, that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. I think that's a fun rule.
How about Brandon in Dartmouth? Hey, Brandon.
Hey guys, how you doing? Thanks for taking my call. So it's not really the worst rule in sports, but the illegal formation in the NFL, particularly the wide receivers, has gone too far, and I feel like it's ticky-tack and it eliminates exciting plays. I understand the left tackles and the right tackles having to line up on the line of scrimmage because it's a competitive advantage for the offensive line, but they need to hold back on the illegal formations with the wide receivers.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you at this point. I think football has evolved beyond that. Would you agree, Barth?
It's not a bad rule. I get why it exists the way it does, but they are a little too ticky-tack with it. I don't think it's a bad rule. I just think it's called poorly.
Yeah. How about Shane in Manchester? Hey, Shane.
How's it going, guys?
What's up?
A rule that you see more in college than you do in the pros, but you cannot have an infield fly on a bunted ball. So we say, hey, you know what? Pop fly with runners on first and second or bases loaded. We'll protect those runners if it's a swing. But if it's a bunt, we're going to give the defense a tailor-made double or even triple play just because it was bunted. It makes no sense to me why the differentiation.
Is there a differentiation?
I'll look that up. I'm torn on that.
I'm actually not sure about that. So what is he saying that you can't call an infield fly on a bunt?
Yeah, there's no infield flies on bunts.
Huh.
So on one hand, yeah, that is stupid because why is it different? But on the other hand,
get the bunt down.
Right, punish the guys who can't. That's kind of like the fumbling into the end zone rule.
I hear from a philosophical perspective,
it's a stupid rule, but it's not a bad rule.
The rule exists to protect the runners in that scenario. But if you're bunting for a sacrifice in that spot. I like punishing the player.
Get the bunt down. Don't reach the ball out on the goal line. Get the bunt down.
Here's another baseball one. Kevin in the car. Hey, Kevin.
Yeah, hey, guys. Happy holidays. I think this is the dumbest rule in all of sports. I've seen it the last few years, but hit a home run, and then I guess if your foot just misses a base as you're cruising around and you make it to home, it's an out. I just think that's so ridiculous.
Oh, Kevin, I couldn't disagree more.
No, touch the bases.
No, again, we're going back to the purpose of the sport, the actual idea of the sport. This is even more so than the touchback going at, the fumble going out of the end zone. In baseball, I'm going to do a breakdown for you as to how the game works.
Well, let's start. What's the game called again?
It's called baseball.
Okay.
So what you do is the pitcher has a ball, and he throws the ball, and they give you a bat, and they let you try to hit the ball, which is actually the hardest thing to do in sports. That's neither here nor there. And when you hit the ball, if you hit it in play, it is then your job to touch 3 bases before you go home, which is the end. Home, it's where everything ends. There is first base, number 1, second base, number 2. Are you following?
Yeah, and you have to touch them in order.
Third base, number 3, and yes,
in that
very
order.
Importantly, and if you need to go back, you need to touch them in order again. So literally, the entire purpose of the sport is touch the bases. Foot, any part of the body on the bases. Does not matter where you hit the ball, so long as you hit the ball where you're allowed to hit the ball, which is within these 2 lines, and if you hit it out of the ballpark, the defender cannot catch it, so they let you go home in that scenario. However, if we remember the purpose of the sport, you touch base 1, base 2, base 3, and then if you are smart enough to touch home plate, go home, you get what we call a run. So if you don't do that, what happens, Barth, if you're out? You are out. You do not get the run. Good day, sir.
So
if you are too stupid to not be able to touch the base, not only should you be out, you should lose your job. It's very simple. 5-year-olds playing t-ball know how to do it.
Sometimes.
More times than not.
You see the video of the kid who gets the hit and runs to third base.
Yes.
That comes out. I feel like people miss home more than they miss the bases.
Yes. Which is the most important one. It is literally the entire object of the sport. The concept. When Doubleday was running around in the fields of Cooperstown, he's like, well, let's think about this here for a second. 1, 2, 3, go home. Literally count to 3. The entire sport is counting to 3. 3.
I agree with you 100%. I would like to see, and look, you'd get drilled the next pitch. I wonder if anybody's ever celebrated a home run by touching the bases with their hand as they run by, just kind of going by and swiping the base.
That'd kind of be awesome.
That'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it?
I'd be into that.
Because you don't have to touch it with your foot.
Just literally any part of your body.
I think if you get a home run, you don't have to step on it. You can brush it or do something.
I'd love to see Vlad Guerrero after hitting a 500-foot tank,
right.
just go around.
That's a hockey celebration, right? When they score a goal and they do kind of the big wind up, do that and just brush the base. That'd be kind of cool.
As an aside, how awesome is he?
He's great.
He's the man.
He's great.
Oh, God. I wish he didn't sign that contract. He would have been a perfect Red Sox.
Baseball rule I do like, when you think somebody missed a base and you just the guy will be standing there on third, and then the outfielder just runs up and tags him. Yeah, that it's so formal and you have to go through that. I love watching that.
The formal appeal process.
Because the guy's standing there on third, annoyed that he's getting tagged.
Well, you have to step off the rubber because that means you're not a pitcher anymore. The rubber is what delineates who a pitcher and who is not a pitcher.
Right.
So think about it. Again, use your brains, use your minds, the concepts behind all of this. If there's a reason for the rule, it's not a dumb rule just because you're too dumb to understand it. Football fans with your touchbacks and your fumbles outside the end zone. Just think about it. For 1 second. Use your brain. 1, 2, 3, touch the base, go home.
Do you think baseball ever got close enough to panicking about pace of play and having to implement the shot clock that they would have let you just hit a home run and go back to the dugout instead of running the bases?
See, who doesn't like the jog around the bases?
Well, I'm just saying they got rid of, you didn't have to throw the pitches for an intentional walk.
They probably did.
You're not that far from that. You don't have to run the base.
Run the base.
No, I'm all for running the bases, but they got really desperate there at one point.
Did.
Oh, great. All the intentional, I did the math once on how long an intentional walk
12 seconds.
I think it saves 2.5 minutes over the course of the season.
Do you miss that?
I loved that. Bring that back. That was fun. And because every once in a while, some idiot pitcher wouldn't throw it far enough outside and just serve up a massive meatball to some great hitter. Oh, I would be all for bringing that back.
No, I mean,
we got the pitch clock now. Bring it back.
Pitch clock changed everything. We can rethink some of those things. No, I want to see the catcher go out there and do his, arm to the,
They would stand there like so.
Very formal.
Right. Very formal. It was all very formal. Or you could like psych a guy out. You could throw one like that so he lets his guard down and then you go fastball inside.
Isn't that catcher's balk? I don't think you can do that.
I feel like I remember seeing where like they would start an intentional walk but not finish it.
Well, and it's like I think the catcher has to literally signal that it's going to be.
No, so the catcher wouldn't signal then come back in, but like they would do it for the first pitch, and then the next pitch would just be like a normal pitch. I guess it was a pitch out. You can still do that, but this is like a more extreme pitch out.
Bring it back. Why not?
I'm all for bringing that back.
It's not going to... You're right. Silly little thing. That's all it was.
I got one more.
What do you got for me?
Error by the pitcher that leads to a run should still count as an earned run.
No, it should be an earned run.
You screwed up.
It's your fault.
Yes. That seems like a very basic one.
Think about how many more earned runs the Red Sox would have. 617-779-0985. How about Ray and Natick? Hi, Ray.
Yes, I have an idea for a football rule change.
Yeah.
Whenever the opposing coach calls a timeout to ice the kicker, the kicking team gets to stay on the field and take as many practice kicks as they'd like.
Ooh. Doesn't that kind of already happen anyway?
No,
there's generally a 30-second timeout, and like they snap the ball, and yeah.
So they lock down on it this year. You're like they're supposed to do everything they can and not let him kick the ball.
Okay.
So, I did see somebody say once kickers should get intros like closers. That's a terrible idea.
No, I'm into that.
You want to, let's psych the kicker out more.
Yes. No, that's why I'm into it. I want to see some dude who thinks he's like, some weenie kicker go out there to, I don't know, welcome to the jungle or whatever your typical.
So then you do it for road.
Enter Sandman.
So road kickers get intros.
No,
you go on the road, you get a big intro. And now, like at Gillette, they just announced like the Bills now kicking the game-winning field goal for the Bills. Tyler Bass. They put on a whole light show.
No, I want to see Enter Sandman in Buffalo when it's Bass who's Buffalo's kicker, right? Like come out there for like a 47-yard game winner. Enter Sandman. The lights go out and everything, and he comes on and just pushes it right.
I think kickers would hate that.
I'm into it. Of course, they would hate it. I'm into it.
No, do it for the road kickers.
No, do it for me as the fan.
That's true.
No, home kickers only. You're missing the irony of the whole thing.
Oh, no, I fully understand.
That's why we want home kickers only. 617-779-0985. Rule change ideas, best and worst in sports, crackpot ideas, whatever you have going on. It's Matt McCarthy and Alex Barth. Quick update from Barth.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Bruins fell 6-2 to the New York Rangers this afternoon at TD Garden. Quick turnaround for the
In this town, sports happens 24/7. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Alex Barth, we're here until 7:30. Your thoughts on everything. 617-779-0985. How about Catherine in Quincy? Hey, Catherine.
Hi. I was wondering, I hate to say it, I'm not surprised that the Bruins lost to the Rangers, because the Rangers have always been a pretty good team.
Yep.
But what I am surprised is the Browns have won 3 games and they managed to beat the Eagles. What is up with that? Do you have any idea?
Are you talking about the Bears today? So the Bears pretty much ran away with this thing, didn't they, Barth? You had the prime game over there. We don't have...
Yeah, as much as you can run away with a low-scoring game, they were in control, I would say, for most of the day. I don't know if they ran away with
What
it.
do we
They
make
were
of the
in
Eagles
control.
right now?
Really good defense and an offense that is just completely all over the place. It's a mess. They're still dangerous, and when it gets cold up there in the Northeast, and if Saquon can get going again and the line can get going again, they're going to be a problem. I'm not writing them off by any means. Their passing game, I think they got a little spooked by everything with A.J. Brown. They tried to rework it to get him more involved. That's just not where their skill set is. That's not where Jalen Hurts' skill set is. And then you also have a guy that, Barkley was a feature back last year. And in the modern NFL, it's really hard to do that. Not everybody's 260 pounds like Derrick Henry. He looks like a guy that's maybe worn down a little bit. Now, as the defenses get worn down as the season goes on, again, there might be an uptick there, and they can maybe get it going. But they're in a rough spot. They're by no means out of it, but they got some things to figure out. They're not as bad as the Chiefs.
Right.
But they're kind of in a similar spot, relatively speaking.
They're also going to have a hell of a lot to play for here, probably when it comes to playoff seeding and everything going on. And the Cowboys, making a little bit of a run at this point.
And Cowboys are 2 games back, essentially.
Yep. So the Eagles are going to affect the AFC playoff picture. They play the Chargers next.
Yeah.
And then you've been on this for a number of weeks here. That Eagles-Buffalo game, Week 17.
That's going to be a big game.
It's going to be a big game.
And both those teams might be desperate.
They might definitely both those teams might need that game for sure. How about Chris in the car? Hey, Chris. Oh, Chris.
Hello.
Hey. Hi, Chris.
Hey, how are you today?
Good. What's up?
Hey, one of the big pet peeves of mine is when you're watching the game, everything's going along great, NFL, college football, MLB baseball, and it comes up on the screen. This play is under review. Okay, fine, I get it. We want to get the right call. But when it goes on and on and on, minute after minute, 5 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes, when they're supposed to be looking for what is going to overturn the call, they're looking for something that's not there.
You couldn't be more right about this, Chris. We need to put a timer on replay. The purpose of replay is to overturn the egregious. How did he miss that? The Armando Galarraga. Like, okay, yeah, he was out at first base. That play. That's why replay exists in all of sports. Not. Well, did that blade of grass move right there? Let's look at this for the next 45 seconds. No. 90-second replay timer. That's it.
So I do believe the NFL has a timer on, you have to decide if it's overturned or not by, I think it's 2 minutes. But then sometimes it takes long because if you determine it's overturned, now it's where does the clock need to be? Where do we spot the ball? You have to figure all that out. What you probably didn't see this, McCarthy, what the ACC did this year is during the review.
Trust me.
During the review, they actually go live to the replay center and you hear the conversation between the head official and the replay center. So even if it takes a little longer, you understand why and you're privy to it and you kind of get to play along. The NFL will never, ever do that. But it was a tremendous, tremendous broadcast element.
Can you imagine? The transparency?
It's fantastic.
It's a great thing for sports. Here's what they're looking at. We're not speculating. This is what they're talking about. I love that.
And so when it is long, you hear them say, they're going back through replay, okay, where does the clock need to be? Wind that back. Where's the ball? So, on those long ones, maybe it doesn't necessarily make it that much better, but I do feel like there's something better in knowing, okay, this is why it's taking as long as it is.
Right. If it takes an extra few minutes to get all the ducks in the row, at least you're hearing them go through it. And you also get a bit of an insight into how on top of it they are or not. If they're in command of the situation and it looks like they're doing a good job, well, then that as a fan.
Right.
The same thing is also true. If they sound like bumbling idiots Like, look at this guy. He's not cut out for this moment.
It's a great product. The NFL will never do it. We all know that, but it's a tremendous product.
How about Steve in Connecticut? Hey, Steve.
So you had mentioned something about the hook DH, but that would never work because they're not going to risk having Aaron Judge not even get in at bat if the starting pitcher can't get out of the first inning. The other thing that you mentioned was the lefty matchups. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think they could go back to that, but what they should do is they should just have both pitchers come out of the bullpen at the same time. Both of them have already warmed up. Oh. First guy gets to throw a couple of pitches on the mound, get through his hitter, but the second guy has to go right to the mound and start.
I don't know. That gets a little. You don't want to tip off to your opponent what you're doing next, type of thing.
Yeah. Plus, if it might be one guy, if he gets the out, it might be another guy. If
there are also ways you can do it too. With the DH, if it's the first inning, a pitcher gets hurt or whatever. Right. You don't lose the DH. There are different. There's language you can put in that rule. I would just say this: like the concept of the hook DH is when you pull the DH. When you pull your starting pitcher, you lose the DH.
You don't lose that player.
Who's more important to baseball, the pitcher or the hitter?
Pitcher.
The pitcher. In the end. Now, Aaron Judge is a bona fide star. He plays for the Yankees. But, again, who's more important? Yoshinobu Yamamoto or Kyle Schwarber?
Well, but you could also do, and this is how I've always pictured it. I've never even considered that. Okay, so you lose the DH spot. You now have to decide, you can go put Aaron Judge in right field.
Aaron Judge can go play the field.
Right. So you have to move his position. You have to take somebody out, but you don't lose the DH player. You just lose the spot, and now you get back into maybe like the double shifts and things like that.
Let me ask you this. Is it a bad thing if you see Shohei Ohtani in left field?
No.
Not at all. Probably won a gold glove out there.
Probably.
You kidding me? People are like, he can't be the greatest player of all time. He doesn't play the field. Actually, he does because he's a pitcher. Have you seen him field his position? He's good.
He's good at everything.
He's incredible at everything.
But I'd be like, if I were to
play the field,
commissioner and implement it right, okay, Aaron Judge.
That's a choice you have to make. Like, you're going to put a guy out there who probably can't field. Okay, well, that's your choice.
And you might
manage the game.
It's incentive to leave your starter in because maybe you're up and he gets you to the seventh. Hey, his spot in the lineup isn't coming up again. Mm-hmm. So, we'll sit him. Or you look at it and you say, we need another at-bat for him. We're going to put him in right field, and we're going to take this guy out of the game.
You double
switch. More strategy,
you figure it out. It actually takes more of the analytics out of the game, and it puts more pressure on the managers, which I think is good for baseball because that's, from a media perspective, Barth, that's good for us, too.
Right.
The more you can criticize and debate what a manager does, right or wrong. I mean, we do this with... It's Friday. We're still talking about, Josh McDaniels on, those 2 goal line series. We're still talking about that. That's good. Is that good for football?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
But so to be clear, you don't lose the player who's in the DH spot. You just have to move him somewhere else.
Yep.
If you want to keep him in the lineup.
You double switch him.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. How about Steven on the Cape? Steven.
Yeah, I was thinking in all sports during the regular season, no more overtime. You either win, you lose, or you tie. And it's going to make games a little bit more exciting at the end. And in baseball, you could institute a rule that there's no new inning after 2.5 hours. That makes baseball even shorter. So you have to figure out how you're going to win the game. Like in a football game, if you're down by 3, you kick a field goal to get a tie, or you try for the win.
I think we've jumped the shark at this point.
Out. I hate ties. I hate ties.
No timers in baseball.
What do we? I mean, the pitch clock is the only timer the game needs because we are playing baseball games in 2.5 hours.
Right.
So this is not Little League.
Right. Sun's going down. Game's over.
Trust me, as somebody who umpired many a game on the South Shore and the South Coast, nobody paid more attention to the no new inning after hour 45 rule. We ended those things. We got another game coming up behind us. You know why those rules exist? Because there are parents freezing their asses off in April. Out in the stands, it's a bunch of 9-year-olds out there, and we got a game behind this where, mom and dad just drop the kid off, and it's a 2-hour time, thing, and then you're off to, the dance recital or whatever. This is not Little League. We're playing real sports. And ties?
No.
So, ties? Oh, no, let's...
You want the worst rule in football? It's that there's ties. That's the worst rule in football.
Overtime only. Yeah, we could tweak some overtime.
We could tweak overtime, but no ties. I'll indulge Felger's home run derby extra innings.
Yeah,
I love that idea.
Bring that on. Roll out the nets.
How great was that in the All-Star game?
Roll out the nets. Yeah, after like the 11th inning in regular season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick, like, because we had 2 absurdly long games, like the 18-inning game. At what point in the playoffs do you start putting the man-for-man on?
No, those games are awesome. I love those games.
I appreciate the traditionalists in you, Barth.
Well, and because they're rare. If they were more common, I might be on your side, but you get one every like 10 years.
Yeah. Well, we had 2 this year. I mean, that ALCS game 7, right? When it was
6, I think. The one in Seattle you're talking about?
No, it was at ALDS game 5.
Play it. I'd play
Went
it.
15 innings. See,
you don't touch the playoffs.
I generally agree with that. I like the fact that you don't have the ghost runner on, in the playoff games. But at some point, it's about the 13th inning. This is my theory, where it doesn't become a baseball game anymore. It becomes a war of attrition.
But that's so fun. You're
ghost
just
runner
watching who's going to screw up.
But
I just want to watch and see who's going to screw up.
Can't be ending World Series games at 3 a.m.
No, I think you don't touch the playoffs.
So I generally agree, but like we have to have a line at some point.
Nope.
13 innings.
No line.
Well,
that's where the games change,
too, right? You could be rewarding a team or punishing a team that has depleted the bullpen and mismanaged their rotation and things like that.
12 and like that World Series game 3, it was tremendous up until about the 13th inning. And I would say the same thing with the ALDS game 5, tremendous up until the 13th inning, and then it really is a war of attrition. That's when I would put the ghost runner
19th inning. You had 2 games to settle it. If you can't settle it in 2 games, fine.
You just like chaos. That's your thing. You like crazy things.
I like rare sporting spectacles.
I know, but at some point, again, you have to think about the average fan. And Barth, I say this as a compliment to you. You are not the average fan.
But I'll say this to you as a diehard baseball fan. You don't want that game, and you're talking about, you said earlier, like top 5 game in the history of the sport.
Yeah.
Game 7, if that had gone one more inning.
It was a real baseball game.
The top 5 game in the history of the sports decided by the ghost runner? Is that what you want?
Probably by the 13th or 14th inning, it becomes a fake baseball game and a war of attrition.
Yeah, I don't think a game 7 can become a fake baseball game.
And maybe you just don't do it in game 7. You're right. Game 7, no ghost runner. I'm on board with that because, again, it's all hands on deck and everybody's available. Any other game, you can implement the ghost runner in the 13th inning. I've given you another third of a baseball game, 10, 11, and 12.
Maybe in the DS.
And you know me, I'm a traditional. I'm here arguing for the double
surprised. I'm surprised by this. This does not. I think you would want nothing to do with it in the playoffs.
I just think the product changes. Like, when does the product change? And me, in my very scientific baseball mind, I know it's the 13th inning. I know that.
Chaos.
I welcome chaos. Talk some Red Sox.
Yeah, let's do
it. We were planning on doing that about an hour ago.
Can we grab one more of these real quick, though? Robert and Salem. I want to hear the justification for this.
Robert, Bob.
Hey, so I'm not a giant baseball guy, but you were talking a little bit earlier about the rule of 3s in baseball. Yep. 3 bases, 3 outs, 3 strikes. Mm-hmm. Baseball's already a defensive game. Like a 300 batting average is like a good year.
Yep.
Why does a pitcher get 4 balls?
Well, God, now I'd have to go back and ask Abner Doubleday why. Once we start changing like 4 balls,
there's your change. 3 balls.
No way.
Increase the offense.
It would, yeah, but that would do it in such a gimmicky way.
Throw strikes. Get up there. Throw strikes.
It would be. So a 2-2 count now is a full count?
2-2 count's a full count.
No. You know that's wrong, Barth.
I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But the concept of it is amusing. Considering what would happen, the fallout of that is interesting.
So all of a sudden, a 2-1 count, you're on the verge of walking the guy? No.
Yeah.
We don't need that. That's almost as bad as Wiggy's 4-point thing. Let's not go there. All right, we'll continue. It's Matt McCarthy and Alex Barth hanging out with you. We got room for you at 617-779-0985.
Boston's home for Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Bruins fell 6-2 to the New York Rangers this afternoon at TD Garden. Quick turnaround for the Bees. They're back at it tomorrow against the Red Wings. The Patriots had practice today. One more tomorrow before they face the New York Giants on Monday Night Football. Harold Landry, Brennan Schooler, Kairos Tonga, and Jared Wilson all missed practice today. Elsewhere in the NFL, one Black Friday game on today. It was the Bears going into Philadelphia and upsetting the Eagles 24-15. Thanksgiving results yesterday. The Packers beat the Lions. The Cowboys beat the Chiefs. And the Bengals beat the Ravens. And in college football, rivalry week underway. And a big result in the state of Georgia as Georgia hangs on to beat Georgia Tech 16-9. Coming up tonight, you can hear it right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Big game in the SEC as Texas A&M visits Texas. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Super Service Today. Winter's coming. Don't get caught in the cold. Super Service Today delivers New England's most complete heating system health and safety check, catching problems before they catch you. Stay safe, stay warm. Book now at superservicetoday.com. I'm Alex Barth on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub, and those are your Sports Hub headlines.
Sports, we're fans just like you. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You know, like I said, I don't want to, kind of paint anyone ourselves into a corner here. We felt like there was an opportunity to upgrade our rotation in 2026, and so we did that. It's early in the offseason. There are still opportunities that I anticipate materializing. Exactly what those look like, I'm not sure, but we're not going to close off any chance to make the team better.
I think a lot of people are taking Craig Breslow's non-committal attitude about, are you going to get another number 2 starter? And he's kind of caged that over the last couple of days here. But I don't necessarily look at that as a bad thing, Barth, and it's Matt McCarthy and Alex Barth. I think this is actually a sign, and I'm hoping that this is a sign of a GM who's learned a little something, that if there's a deal to be made to improve your team, do it because you don't know what's going to happen with the market. That's how you end up holding the bag at the trading deadline and calling the Dodgers 10 minutes before and overpaying for Dustin May. That's how that ends up happening. So I kind of think in some ways, the Sonny Gray stuff is, well, we're not going to say we're going to get a number 2 starter. We're going to try to, and don't get me wrong, they need to get it done.
Yes.
But there was a deal to be made, and we made it, and we're going to beat everybody to it. Get your shopping done early, not late, which to me is always the sign of, that was what Dave Dombrowski did. That's what a good GM does. I think this deal presented itself because Chaim Bloom wanted to dump money in St. Louis. He does not intend to win there. Chaim Bloom doesn't like winning. Likes winning prospects rankings, doesn't like winning actual baseball games. So Sonny Gray was available. They made a trade. That's how I read it.
Under promise, over deliver, right? That's the phrase?
Yes, but behind the scenes, now we're getting some promises about hitters. So I think they're under promising in the rotation. We'll see what ends up happening there. I do not think they're done in the rotation. But how about the news on the hitters? John Heyman, noted Scott Boras mouthpiece, by the way.
Yeah.
Keep it in mind, reporting that there are 5 batters the Red Sox are considering, and they're considering signing up to 2 of them. Now, again, I would say up to.
Up to 2 is,
2.
yeah.
The 5 names, Kyle Schwarber, Pete Alonso, Kazuma Okamoto, JT Realmuto, and Alex Bregman. I smell a rat with this. One of these names is not like the other. JT Realmuto?
He's not that kind of player anymore.
No, he's not that kind of player. Now, I love JT Realmuto. I'm totally on board with the Red Sox bringing in Realmuto and having a catching tandem of Narvaez and Realmuto. I think you'll get more out of Realmuto if he doesn't play as much. He's got a million miles on him, but he's a good player. I think he's a winning player. He's a veteran guy. You can, if that's your backup catcher or, splitting time and not asking as much of Narvaez, I think that's a great signing. I'm on board with it. But don't give me well, we're going to sign Alonso and Real Muto, and that's our offseason. No, that's not good enough. Real Muto is not a part of that. Real Muto is a role player signing, not a big-time player signing.
It's also interesting that Alex Bregman's in there. I mean, they're going to count Bregman as an addition, which I don't love. There was all this talk when they traded Devers. All right, we have all this money. We've opened up. We're going to spend it. Well, if they spend it on Bregman, you already had him. And you needed to pay him, but you already had him. Devers was under contract long-term, so you didn't really upgrade. If it's Bregman +1, fine. As long as it's not Real Muto, like you said. I don't know anything really about the Japanese guy, but I would take Alonso for sure.
Yep.
Who else is on that list? Schwarber? I'd take Schwarber.
So, I'd take Schwarber too. Schwarber isn't as... Now, he fits the power need, and he works in Boston, which we know.
Right.
Alonso is a better fit because he's a right-handed hitter. He's not a great first baseman, but he can play first base. He plays every day. 152 games is the fewest he's played in a season, which is no joke. So the guy posts. That swing at Fenway Park works. Yeah, to me, Alonso is still my number one target this offseason. And in the end, I'm not the world's biggest Pete Alonso fan, but he's such a perfect fit for what they need. He's kind of this year's version of Bregman last year, where you say, of course, there some concerns about Bregman, the age. Maybe he's not the player he once was, but he's such a perfect fit because he can field a ground ball. He's a veteran guy. He's a winner. I feel the exact same way about Alonso. He fits the need. He can play first base. He's a right-handed hitter. He's a power hitter, and he plays every day.
Would you rather... Because, so they're pivoting away now, at least the messaging is pivoting away from the pitchers to the hitters. But we all agree they need a second starter.
Yep.
Would you rather they pivot away and load up on the lineup and Sonny Gray is your second starter, or they only get one guy on that list but add another pitcher?
That is so tough because their biggest need is a middle-of-the-order power bat. They can get away with not having a second starter because they have Crochet.
That just makes me so nervous in the playoffs.
Okay,
though.
but that goes against my philosophy in baseball that you need pitching, that pitching wins championships. And yes, if Brian Bayo is starting game 2 of a series, that's not good enough. I just think, do they have a better chance? And I don't want to have to make this choice, all right, but work with me on this.
I just feel like it's going to be one or the other.
I agree, because and that's how the Red Sox have operated. Do they have a better chance of finding in the organization a number 2 starter or finding a middle-of-the-order bat?
Number 2 starter.
I think it's number 2 starter.
Their prospect ranking, I would think it's number 2 starter.
Because of their depth, right? And I'm not saying this is going to happen, but who do you feel better about? Peyton Tolley reaching his ceiling or Christian Campbell reaching his?
I think it's Christian Campbell for that middle-of-the-order guy. Wouldn't it be like Stinson Garcia probably is who we're talking about?
And that's probably not going to be it. Right. But
and you also have Conley early, who also might be sick.
Is it early or Tolley? Do you feel better about early and Tolley, or do you feel better about Meyer and Campbell right now?
Meyer and Campbell. Okay, because for a second I definitely feel better about Anthony, but I think Tolley and early.
Anthony's your leadoff hitter.
Right. Anthony's locked in. I think Tolley and early.
Yeah,
but
me too.
Also, isn't pitching a little more volatile?
Yeah. I think they have proven over the course. One of my major takeaways from this past year is that, and I'm not the world's biggest Breslow guy, but that Breslow has fixed a lot of the pitching development problems that they've had. They have invested a lot organizationally in pitchers. So if we're talking about middle-of-the-order bat coming out of the woodwork or a number 2 pitcher coming out of the woodwork, right now, based on their organizational efforts, it's probably a number 2 pitcher.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that's going to happen because it's probably not. What it probably is.
But we know how they operate. They're going to bet on one. Look, and the thing I like, how many of these up and coming pitching prospects have they had are these gangly guys with this weird relief? Peyton Tolley's a tank.
He is.
Conley early's not quite as big, but he's got some, I don't know, maybe this is too simplistic. Those guys look like workhorse front of the end rotation pitchers.
And Tolley's fastball is just electric. He needs to refine the secondary stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, he has top of the rotation stuff. That doesn't mean he's going to fit. Whereas I'll be honest, I don't think Meyer has number 3 hitter stuff.
No, they've been chasing, I feel like, the next Chris Sale.
Yeah.
that guy, Chris Sale's 101. That's the reality of it.
Well, they actually traded for him. His name is Garrett Crochet, and he's way more.
Well, but he wins differently.
Yeah, he does.
Right? That's what I'm saying. I mean, a guy that wins that way, and Toley just looks more the part. Meyer's a late, middle to bottom of the order hitter who's going to play good defense. And there's something to be said for that.
Well,
but
when he plays,
you
know what Meyer? I mean, the best way I can describe Meyer, and it's a dig, but he plays baseball like a pretty boy. He does. Everything is beautiful. The swing is beautiful. He moves. He's so good in the field. It's fluid. But he's a little soft. He's a little broken. Pretty boy. I mean, he's a good-looking dude. Everything about Marcelo Meyer, pretty boy. You want to build around that?
Well, you're building around Anthony.
You are. Yeah, but no doubt. Anthony is that guy.
No matter what kind of player Marcelo Meyer is, it's Roman Anthony's team.
Yes.
At least the lineup.
Yeah.
I guess you're building the pitching around Crochet,
Yeah.
but I mean Crochet and Toley as a 1-2 would be.
Who do you feel? I mean, again, if you're talking about your top pitching prospect versus what is essential, I mean, I think Anthony's already a known. He's already a known commodity.
He's in the equation,
which is crazy given he's going to be 22. We're talking about...
He's baseball Drake May.
He's not a prospect anymore.
No.
He is a borderline... He should be an all-star, immediately. He's that good.
Weren't we talking about MVP candidate at the end of last year?
I mean, he based on what that lineup looked like after Roman Anthony, I mean, he is going to be an MVP candidate someday. Roman Anthony is as sure a bet as you will ever have in the sport.
That's a pretty bad McCarthy jinx, but...
Yeah, I know. He's going to get hurt. Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. It never happened. Scrub it. 617-779-0985. Zach's in the car. Hey, Zach.
Hi, Barth. Hi, McCarthy. Just wanted to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you.
I hope you guys ate a lot of food.
Oh, yeah.
I hate to say this, and I don't want to be that Debbie Downer, but I don't believe anything that the Red Sox are going to do unless they actually prove that they're going to do, because I don't think they're going to sign 2 out of those 5 bats. Because I think they're just going to sign a low guy, and they're going to say, oh, well, that's good and all, and that's all we're going to hear from it. Because, as we know, John Henry doesn't like to spend money. I just want to hear you guys' thoughts on that. And, again, happy Thanksgiving to you both.
Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it. John Henry did give Garrett Crochet a record contract last offseason for a guy who had basically never pitched before.
But it's been a long time since they've had consecutive big off seasons, which is why that maybe makes me doubt them more than usual. They'll sign 2 guys from that list. But it'll be Bregman and Real Muto. And we'll talk about, all right, well, Bregman was already here.
Yeah.
Real Muto's platoon player. But then, no, they were on the list, John Heyman's list of big hitters. They were on there, but it's, not really.
I get it. I understand why you feel that way as a Red Sox fan. Trust me, there's a big part of me that feels that way, too. I mean, I will believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
But I do think, in defense of the Red Sox, and Barth, I'm not in the business of defending the Red Sox.
Typically, no.
Long and documented history of not being in the business of defending the Red Sox. I do not believe they are fans of me over there on Jersey Street. I can't say I blame them. They did do everything they set out to do last offseason.
Okay,
isn't that more recent than... I feel like we're talking about the Red Sox like it's 2022. The last thing they did when it comes to an offseason is... trade for Garrett Crochet, sign him to a record contract extension, and sign Alex Bregman.
So correct.
Spend money on your closer, which they did.
But the last few times they've had a big offseason, did they follow it by continuing to build on it or coasting on the goodwill of that offseason for 3 years while the roster falls apart?
Fair. Under Dombrowski, they did. Different era. You can't even
right.
You can't
so
it's
been a minute.
It's no doubt about it.
So this is where they had the last offseason is what makes it so much more frustrating. They have the ability to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They have the resources to do it. Just do it.
Let's get into the Dylan Cease signing because the arms race is on in the American League East, and you know what that means for the Sox. 617-779-0985. It's a lot of money to give a guy who I don't feel great about, but it shows a level of seriousness that the Blue Jays have. So the arms race is on in the American League East. That much is apparent. We'll continue. Matt McCarthy and Alex Barth.
Boston's home for sport. The Celtics, the Patriots, the Sox, the Revs, and you. Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Thought the Cardinals did well. I'm not sure the Red Sox did well enough, but maybe they see this differently. Maybe they say, you know what? We're not giving $150 million to Dylan Cease or Framber Valdez or Ranger Suarez or Imai. No, let's do 1 year with Sonny Gray, do some other things to upgrade offensively, maybe get another lesser starter as well. I don't know what they're thinking exactly, but it was an interesting choice to me, the one that they made.
I hope Kent Rosenthal is wrong about that. Well, Sonny Gray will be our number 2, and we'll just move on to the offense. I hope he's wrong.
Thinks Chaim Bloom fleeced us?
That's where I know he's wrong. The Red Sox won that trade. We're not talking about that enough. We're immediately jumping to, the Red Sox are cheap, this and that, which we've done for years, and I understand why you feel that way as a Red Sox fan. They earned that. They earned that reputation. But they won the trade. Ask you this, Barth. Who do you trust more to evaluate a pitcher? Chaim Bloom?
Craig Breslow.
Craig, yes. It's not even close. Chaim Bloom, as we know, hates pitchers.
Should have just said the other guy.
Left the pitching, the organization in shambles here. So the fact that, Bloom is coming out saying, Brandon Clark is one of the best prospects. He's got a highest ceiling as anybody in the majors. And Richard Fitz has already proven that he, is going to start games for a long time. Yeah, you didn't mention that he's not good. That is important. He's going to start games for a long time. Yes, he's not going to be good at it, but he will start for a long time. Red Sox won that trade. They won that trade. They made their team better. The question is it good enough? And the answer is no. I mean, we all know it's not good enough. Right. It's a start. Not yet. If Sonny Gray's your number 2 starter, not good enough. Sonny Gray's your number 3 or 4 starter? Yeah, right. That's definitely good enough. How about Nick in Worcester? Hey, Nick.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Not a lot of optimism that, they're going to spend money this offseason. The Sonny Gray move just feels like a typical John Henry ownership group, value play, similar to, Paxton and Giolito. And then, not to mention it, the guy, basically routinely pissed his pants while he was in New York. So I don't think him anywhere near 2 or 3 in our rotation is going to get the job done. I'll hang up and listen.
All right, thanks, Nick. I appreciate it. That being said, and all of those things are valid points. And the thing I'm worried about most with Sonny Gray is pitching in a big market, which he did once before, and it did not go well.
No.
It's a long time ago. It was 2018. But then he went to Cincinnati, where nobody was paying attention, and he was an all-star. He went to Minnesota, finished second in the Cy Young voting just 2 years ago. I got a text from somebody in baseball the other night, not anybody associated with the Red Sox, somebody out west. And this person said, after looking at the Dylan Cease contract, they said, boy, Sonny Gray for $20 million is a steal compared to Dylan Cease. And you're not necessarily wrong about that. Sonny Gray's had a better last 3 years than Dylan Cease has had. Cease has had one good year in the last 3 years. It was last year in San Diego at a 3.47 ERA, but he's had ERAs in the mid-4s the other 2 years. Sonny Gray, his ERA in the last 3 years, 2.79, 3.84, 4.28. Now, trending in the wrong direction,
so there's
getting older.
I care about the 1 year more than the 3 year.
There are questions about both. In the end, though, I don't care about the contract. I care about getting the best pitcher possible. Red Sox may have gotten a better pitcher than Dylan Cease. They may have. There's no guarantee. So it does go to show that, paying for pitchers on the open market, if you're going to pay $210 million, I'd want to feel better about it than getting a guy like Dylan Cease. Now, it shows that the Blue Jays are interested. It shows that they're serious, and I'd still question that partially with the Red Sox. But I will say this, Barth.
Yep.
You're better off making a trade for a pitcher than signing a pitcher on the open market. And I still think that is very much in play. Joe Ryan, very much in play. Freddie Peralta, very much in play. I don't buy the Scooble stuff, but you're better off making a trade, and the Red Sox absolutely have the capital to make a trade. You also don't have to pay for that guy up front, too, which is important for the Red Sox. You can get Joe Ryan, and you're not going to have to give him big money for another 2 years. They can absolutely improve this team and do it, I hate to say it, on the cheap financially, if that's something that they really do care about. And it probably is something they do still care about.
It's just such a great trade talk radio-wise because Sonny Gray is so right on that line.
He is.
Of it's not a minor move.
No,
it's not. You can't call it a minor move, but it's probably not enough. It's enough of a move for them to sell it as the big move, but it's not enough of a move to actually be the big move.
They are a better team than they were a few days ago, and we have not focused enough on that.
But they're not improved to the extent that they need to be improved to realistically contend. And so that's what's going to be interesting. When the offseason, and we talked about this on Wednesday, it does bug me when people look at the offseason as it needs to be linear. You make your biggest move first, that you feel your biggest need first, and you feel your second biggest need. No, it doesn't. Just get all the pieces in place. It doesn't matter the order you do it. Sure, get your shopping done early, but even within that, when we look back at it at the end, we're going to be like, yeah, they made all these moves. Oh, yeah, and they added Sonny Gray. That was a good, a good start, and they built up after that. Or are we going to look back at it and be like, that was the move? Because it could really go either way.
With them, it could go either way. But you're right. It's a good start. And people aren't saying that
it's a good start as long as it's a start.
It's not as long as
it's a start. It's a good start.
As long as it's not where you finish. Ann Rogers, who covers the Royals, reporting that for MLB.com, reporting that the Red Sox asking price for Jarren Duran is too high, and it's above the Royals' comfort level right now. I would encourage Craig Breslow to understand you missed your chance to trade Jarren Duran for something impactful. Duran will be addition by subtraction. You're going to get 40 cents on the dollar. Take it.
It's not even the winter meetings yet. Start high. I don't have a problem with that. As long as they're willing to come down eventually.
They better be.
I don't have a problem with that.
Real quick, Jeremy in Dorchester. Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Yeah.
I love the take that you guys had about, Alonso being a great fit. I think that is like a must sign in the offseason. But I've been seeing rumors online. Obviously, we don't know how true it is that they're eyeing Real Muto. I just think that would be a really good, bottom 4, bottom 5 of the order bat to pick up. And you look at Connor Wong or Narvaez, defensively, I don't think that there's an issue, but as a bat, it's just absolutely atrocious.
Real Muto's not the hitter he once was. He had a 700 OPS last year. He's fallen off over the last 2 years. He might be the type of person, he might be the type of player, and catchers, Barth, they take a beating. The less you ask from him, the more you get from him. He is a veteran guy, Gold Glover behind the plate, has played in a million big games. I deem him a winning player. They need more guys like that. You want to bring him in to be a tandem with Narvaez. Could probably play a little first base for you too.
That's where you sell me.
It's a role player. It's not a big move, but it would be a nice role player addition. I'm into that.
Sonny Gray of the lineup.
That's exactly what that is. You go out, he'd be a fit. I don't need to see Connor Wong ever again. I'm good with that. Hey, we've already moved on from the Mookie Betts return now has led to Sonny Gray and Connor Wong. I'm cool if, in the end, it's just Sonny Gray and Connor Wong get shipped off. We have Texas and Texas A&M coming up next.
That's right, huge game.
Alex Barth, very excited about it. He might even just stay and listen to it. See ya.
Bustin'. This is Boston's most listened to sports station. Boston's home for sports. 95 Sports Hub. The Beasley Media Group station.
Throw it to. And then what really surprised me, when they beat Oklahoma this year, is how good they were on defense. They really controlled the line of scrimmage. And they have struggled on their offensive line. We got to see if they can run the ball effectively today. That would certainly help keep that Aggie offense off the field and would help protect Arch Manning.